Come.
I just hang out and say smart ass that stuff.
So the audience cued in right when you said smart ass stuff. Yes, Jenny. Yes, Jenny,
Whoops.
you do. But that's what we love about you, so it's fine. Um, oh, sorry, I have my mic really far away from me. Dick was giving me shit about that the other night. He's like, "We couldn't hear you very well. You need to put that mic closer to your face." okay. Put the goddamn mic closer to my face. So, HS, I haven't seen you in a while. How you been?
Ah, good and bad at the same time. I'm having some medical issues. This,
So, HS. Oh,
yeah.
my stream just started.
Oh, hey. Playback clue.
Anyways,
Timey wimey
sorry
wibbly
about
wobbly
that.
stuff.
I'm
But
live on Twitch too.
I just have some medical issues I'm dealing with right now. That's been a little
Yeah, I know you
trying.
haven't been feeling good. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I can tell that you do not feel good by your face.
really, yesterday I felt like I was dying. Kitty and I were supposed to FaceTime each other, and I was like, I can't. I feel like I'm dying. I said later. So today we finally did. I was like, okay. She made a cool little gift off the. I'll have to show you guys later. I don't want to get up right now, but when I do,
No, it's
I'll
fine.
get
Don't get
over.
up then.
Yeah, she made me a little backpack. It's really awesome.
Oh, that's cool. I saw her backpacks she was making. They were really nice.
Yeah, she's good
Like
at it,
that's some
man.
good quality work right there, man.
Yeah, it's
Like, that's
amazing.
something you have to spend like 80 or $100 on most of the stuff she has to get anything that good of quality.
Yeah,
And
it's
for her
badass.
selling it for like 20, 30 or $40, well, that's dirt cheap with all the time she put into it.
Yeah. Plus, it's somebody you
Yeah.
know, and it just means something. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. She's a sweetheart. Hard-headed and opinionated, just like I like all my friends, but
Oh,
she's a
that's the
sweetheart.
best, right?
She was any different, she wouldn't be Kitty. Jenny, how you doing?
I'm all right. I had a nice, pleasant day.
Good.
I'm mostly unconscious, which is always nice.
You know what? I cannot wait for Saturday. I swear to God. I'm going to do the same thing I did last weekend. I'm just going to stay high and sleep half the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Once
got
in a
some
while,
sleep
it's good
today?
to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You got some good sleep today?
Mm-hmm.
Good. We need to catch up sometimes. The beginning of last week was very stressful for me because what's going on in my personal life. And I didn't sleep very much. I was going to bed at like 3 a.m. and getting up at 6 for like 3 nights in a row, sleeping like 3 or 4 hours. So kind of caught up with me. And I really didn't feel it until yesterday. And I feel it today. I went to sleep at like 1:30 in the morning. My brain won't shut up. Doesn't matter how much pot I smoke. I can't stop freaking overthinking everything. It's part of
that's no fun.
PTSD and ADHD mixed together. It's just, they are the worst fucking combination. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, I think that's my least favorite thing when the brain gets racing and you just can't get it to shut up. And
that's my brain all the time. That's what people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, you're talking too fast, or you just switch subjects too quick." I mean, what are you talking about? But that's just how my brain is. It doesn't know how to fucking slow down. I swear to God, I wake up thinking about a bunch of shit. Like my brain just went all night anyways. Like it just never fucking stops. So you get the overthinking with ADHD and all the issues that come in with PTSD and that disconnect in the brain because of PTSD. And so now you're not only always in fight or flight mode, because that's what PTSD does to you, which explains why I'm always fucking tense. And unless it's like right after sex or I'm extremely drunk and high, I am always fucking tense. I'm always fidgety. I can't hold still. I move all the time. All the time I'm on the streets, my legs are moving. I have to smoke fucking cigarettes, so I have something to do. My toes are constant. My toes right now, all 10 of them are wiggling. Like that's me constantly. It's such a fucking bitch.
Wait a minute. You don't have 12?
Oh, God, no. Snipped off those extra ones at birth. My mom was quick, man. She was like, "Oh, you ain't gonna have to circumcise this one. Let's cut off those extra toes."
Well, I'd be pissed if they cut off mine.
I'm just fucking around. I didn't have any extra toes. Good night, Robert. I love you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Hi, Guy and Commander and Spooky and Robert's heading to bed and Krabby's here and Ox is somewhere. He'll be back. And Mage is hanging. Oh, there's Mage. Oh.
It's
What is Mage?
amazing.
Mage had a whole conversation over here. I'm missing the whole thing. I got into a heated back and forth about the "Don't Say Gay" bill on Facebook. They challenged me to elaborate on why I called the bill shit. That also devolved into him claiming I support child grooming, and I challenged him back to
Ooh.
elaborate how this bill is child grooming. They continued insulting me, then blocked me. Oh yeah, that sounds about right for like a turf or a flurf or any of them. Just all of them. That's just what people do.
Well, I think some
They
people
say
are
a
like
bunch of shit and
really.
then they block you.
I think some people are really stuck on the rhetoric of these people are going to talk about sexuality, just straight up sexuality to your children at a very young age, where they're not going to understand
Mm-hmm.
what's happening. And I think that like don't take into account like the age appropriateness of like right now the age appropriateness of a 5-year-old typically is mom and dad love each other very much and they have a family, and so like now like mom and mom could love each other very much and they could have a family, or dad and dad, or like you know whatever, and they're just like freaked out by it. They're like, oh well, that's sexual. It's like, oh well, okay, okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
Well,
Right.
they
Yeah.
the what's happened is since the marriage not amendment, the marriage decision was made in 2015 by the Supreme Court. They've recognized the right wing has recognized that their argument of it being in the Bible, it says, a man and a woman and all that kind of stuff, is what destroyed them. Is what made that it was what made that argument lose for them. And so now they've tried to couch all of these sexual arguments and things without bringing religion into it. Although it's still all 100% motivated by religion. All these laws that they're passing are written by extremist, right-wing extremist religious groups. Okay,
Yeah.
but they learned language, a pattern of language that does not bring in religion, and so these things are beginning to stand in court, and they can scream about it in public like that, and because they're not bringing up religion, it's really hard to argue against them.
Mage is bringing up the point of like how they're jumping to the slippery slope fallacy of like you're trying to child groom. They were doing that same thing when a trans woman was reading children's books in the library.
Mm-hmm.
They did that same thing. Well, they're grooming children, and so then everybody's like, like, oh, there's like a predator amongst us kind of attitude. It just completely changes the conversation, right? So
Mm-hmm. I want them to show me how putting a child through conversion therapy is not grooming. That is pure, unadulterated grooming for them to be something they're not.
I have to do it. Jenna! How you doing, sweetheart? I'm one of my honorary nieces. Hi, OA. Kyle. The Kyle. Yeah, come in whenever you're ready, buddy. All right. Go ahead, ladies. I'm shutting up again.
I'm done. Whatever they want to do, it's okay by me. And sometimes I just get sick of fighting it,
Yeah.
Sorry I took so long to make
It's okay,
beverage.
bud. No problem.
Hey,
we're having a great conversation without either one of us, so it's fine.
I was listening in, and like something that goes along with this is the fact that people don't realize that like there are certain aspects of like sex ed that we should be teaching young children, such as like at that age, like learning about consent and like these are your body parts and like you are in charge of who touches those. And like certain things need to be communicated because you have young kids who see adults like, oh, adult is in charge, and they don't know certain behaviors are inappropriate, and then they need to learn that they shouldn't touch other people. And it's like learning about consent and your body isn't.
When the conservatives hear that word, so when the conservatives hear that word of teaching children consent, their next question is going to be for you: in what frame of mind should like a kid ever give consent for being touched? And the answer is probably like never, unless it's a doctor, right? Like, or maybe mom and dad have to clean up because something happened. I don't know what.
But if they learn that, But if
Yeah.
they learn that they're not supposed to let other people do that, and that they need to, you know,
Well, see,
find an adult
they
that
don't
like find
want
a parent.
any of this. They don't want any of this children to have access to any of this. So they're not going to bring up what we know to be
Yeah.
the reality of the situation. They're making it over, melodramatic and
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
deceptive.
harmful.
Well,
And
it's
it's
the
harmful.
fear, right? So they're like, okay, well, like, what if they consent to touching each other?
Mhm.
Well, it's like, well, no, 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 no. You teach them that it's not appropriate at their age. Like, to me at least.
Did you
Like
send
this,
Stags a link? I can send him a link if you want.
I don't think I'm connected to him. Yeah, send him a link,
I'll send Stags a link.
and if he wants to jump in, he can.
the thing
But-
that's making me very, very crazy about the whole situation is how they've decided that. Well, and they did this with gay people too, back in the '60s when gay people were first starting to be allowed to be thought of as human.
Yeah, being heard.
Is
Yeah.
the first thing they do is they say, "Oh well, you're all pedophiles."
Oh, I know. It's always
it's
that. Who the hell said that someone under the umbrella was attracted to someone underage? That is not part of the deal.
The only pedophile
one
I've
said
ever
that
known in
but
my
the
life
Christians.
was a heterosexual.
Well, I can explain why that is sort
I
of
didn't hear what you said.
an assumption sometimes, and it does. What's happened in the Catholic Church has not helped the cause.
Well, they're lumping
right,
everything together.
I
They
agree.
consider some kind of sexual deviant. And so it's automatically like it's just like when they were talking about giving all gay people a right to be married. It's next thing you know, they're gonna start. Everybody can be allowed to be married goats.
Yeah, the
did you go from
NAMBLA
human to
argument or
goat?
whatever, right?
It's ridiculous.
Oh,
It's
what
all
if you
fucking
marry your
ridiculous.
house? Like, oh god.
Well, anyone that's not cis het is abnormal, and that means bad.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I have a bad attitude tonight.
Oh no, I have been.
I'm trying to not.
So I'm not comfortable with the emotion of anger. Like I struggle with this emotion of anger. I don't know what to do with it because I know very deeply that the emotion of anger is very, very hard to keep from hurting other people. So I am on that cusp of constantly the last 2 weeks being on the moment of rage. So I try to be really careful about that. So I can feel you like in the sense that like this anger thing is an aggravating situation to be in. I don't like it.
See, I knew it was true, Kitty.
What's that?
I told her to go back and
it.
watch because we were talking about her. So she said, I am hard-headed and opinionated.
Yeah.
We love Kitty. We love Kitty a lot.
That's one of the reasons we love Kitty. That's right.
Isn't that all the best people that have opinions? They have their own.
Yes, Mage, I agree with Ben as well. So I don't know if you guys got to read that because I didn't have it up very long. A few weeks ago, I came across a video where someone was talking about how they were molested for years by their mother's boyfriend, and he got away with it because she didn't know it was wrong. So yeah, what Ben said is right. If she had that basic education, that molestation might not have happened, or at least for so long. Yeah, she might not have had to endure it her whole life.
What I was going to say is that conservatives bank on shame as being the big catalyst of whether or not you do or do not do something. And so like I was taught to be ashamed of my private area.
Oh God, yes.
I had a lot of shame. I had so much shame and anxiety about it.
And as a female, it's your fault if someone does something to you. That's how it's taught to us. Like, what were you wearing?
Yeah.
What were you doing? Did you tempt him to do that to you? Like,
yeah, I think I heard somebody once say, you have
charge.
to own your part in what happened. And it's like, holy fuck, really?
No. That's no, not okay.
I'm so tired of that. If I had a nickel for all that kind of shit.
Right.
The cat.
He's always trying to
the
pet
world.
my face. Every time I start petting him, his belly, rub his belly or under his chin.
He's just trying to love you back.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to put his claws away, so I end up scratches on my face.
That's adorable.
He's
That's so
doing
cute.
this. I know,
He's
isn't
like,
he cute?
I love you.
crazy.
Scratchy, scratch,
Look at
scratch.
him. I mean, he really loves me. He's so weird.
Oh, you know what to do. I sent you that. I
I'm
sent
not
you that
lovable.
illustration to show you what to do with the cat. Just
Oh,
get your duct
Kyle.
tape out and
What's
tape
up?
it up to the wall.
It's a good Kyle.
I'm prepping for
He is the
trivia
Kyle.
this week.
Is that grog?
It's technically Bumbo, but it's very similar
Bumbo.
to Grog. There's actually, this is a trivia question for the week. There's one ingredient difference between Grog and Bumbo. Because
Cinnamon.
Bumbo was what the pirates had. They had improved on the recipe that the Navy had with their grog.
What's grog?
It was a way for them to like use less rum.
Quit.
It's just watered down rum.
Watered down, basically.
Yeah, rum and lime juice or lemon juice and brown sugar. Except I didn't water it down. It's mostly rum and lemon juice is what I did. Only a little bit of water.
They put the
That's my
citrus.
bro.
They put the citrus in to battle rickets.
It's the captain's recipe.
I never drink, so Friday night will be an excuse to have just one.
Yeah, but you can look it up before then. There's one ingredient difference. And I will be asking it.
Just one shit. I
The
keep
one
thinking that
answer
too. Like,
I'll
what if
get
I just
right.
had one beer? Like, why would I do that? Why
I
would you
know.
just drink one fucking beer?
I have a
That's so
kidney
dumb.
stone light, Stags.
Have 12 of them.
I have 12. Oh, so I
Have all of 'em.
tried
Drink
this
all-
today, and
This
I
is
have
how
I
much
have another one
alcohol I
in.
would drink is all of it. That's it.
So I found this nonsense, and it's actually decent. But I had to because I have the lore on my channel with the Peepus. So this is Nitro Peepus. I bought
Have you
this one in
you
the
ever had
vanilla
a-
flavor, but
No.
have you ever had an Old English?
I've not. I don't think I want
You
to.
should try. You should try it one day. Just give it a shot.
Is that going to be my food challenge for one of these trivia weeks?
Drink a 40-ounce Old English high gravity, warm.
Am I gonna? No, oh, warm. Now I'm gonna really hate my life.
It's not gonna make that much difference, dude. It tastes like piss either
It is the
way.
same. No, but this stuff is actually not bad though. The
Really?
Nitro Peepus. It's like creamy, and it's weird.
Creamy
But-
peepus.
Creamy
Because
pizza.
the bubbles are smaller, so it's as if there's a little bit of ice cream in it.
Creamy peepus. Come
Weird.
on.
I always,
Peepus,
I
yeah.
always like a really dark beer. I liked really dark beers like a porter, a Mississippi Mud, an oatmeal stout,
Those are good.
stuff like that. That's
I
what
have one called Morning Sex.
Chew
It's a stout. I think it's a coffee stout.
Nice.
So-
nice.
So morning sex is great, except for if one partner's like, do, I'm a morning person, I'm waking up early, or if one person's like, dude, my breath is rank, then I'm like,
Yeah, I think it had.
Doc said the
it-
same thing at the same time.
I think it's a combination of making the water safer and also getting your rum to last longer. Because there
Yeah,
wasn't
more like
the
that.
ratio. It's like a 1-to-4 ratio of like rum to water. So it's like 4 parts water for 1 part rum, which I did not do that. I did 2 parts rum to like maybe half part water. But yeah, but because part of it was to
So 4
get the
parts rum
to
to 1 part
last
water.
longer because they're on a boat. They didn't have as much.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny shit.
Okay, well, we can do that as a thing at some point. And there's one food challenge that I've been wanting to do with Beck for a while that now Stags definitely needs to be a part of.
What's that?
Because I was
Which
telling
one?
Beck, because I've done this before, but I want Beck to have to make a prison burrito.
a
A
prison,
prison
burrito? That
burrito.
just
The
sounds
hell's
like
a
a
prison
bad
burrito?
idea. What is that?
Okay, so you're gonna need a trash bag to cook
Does it
it
Oh
have
in.
anything to
God!
do with
Here we go.
any toilet water
And
involved?
get you. No,
No, it's
you don't need
ramen.
toilet
It's
water.
mostly ramen and
What
Yeah,
the
you're gonna
burritos and
get
shit.
ramen. You're gonna get
Dude, I
ramen
can't cook
noodles,
here. What
some
are you
tortillas,
thinking?
and then like whatever else. No, this is a perfect thing because it's designed to be cooked in a space where you can't really cook anything. So
Okay.
you, the idea is like everybody in the block just pitches in. Usually, the price to get in is 1 noodle, a pack of ramen noodles for you street folks. Somebody will have tortillas. Somebody will have like some sausages that they'll cut up. Whatever you have, Fritos, chili fucking Cheetos. You throw it all in there. You cook up the noodles in a trash bag with very little water. You crunch them up, and it makes like this, almost like a paste type thing, like the same consistency as your refried beans.
And it congeals like a log.
Yeah.
I hate the word congeal when we're talking about food.
Well, that's what it does, though. That's like the only way to describe it.
That's like the best food you'll eat in there. Ox says you can tell an ex-inmate when they're talking about jailhouse food.
Yep, right?
That's why I had to stack those on.
Krabby said flashback time. No prison burrito for me, thanks.
Congealed with a moist consistency. How many people did I just piss off?
I didn't hear that word.
Moist.
Moist?
Moist.
Oh my God.
It
What's
was
next?
moist
Swampy?
and congealed.
So swampy.
Well, swampies are always moist.
Moist and congealed.
Mm.
Delicious.
I had to do it one more time.
The word I don't like to hear with food is runny.
Ew, that's kind of nasty too.
Oh,
right?
man.
You don't like runny eggs?
No, I call them liquid. Still liquid. So the yolk is
Without
still
runny
liquid.
legs.
Liquid.
I call it
Uncooked,
egg jelly.
Not cooked yet.
Egg jelly.
Oh,
It's
Chili
egg jelly.
Fritos, oodles and noodles,
Damn.
slam of cam cheese. Yep. Some of these people know what they're
You
talking
tear all
about
over me.
in chat.
Yeah, no,
I can
Ox knows what you're talking about.
tell.
You
I
go
would
right
not-
ahead, Kitty. I like to feel my tongue.
The only person I would do that for is Diana. If anyone could get me to do that, it would be Diana.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But no, I'm not. I can't. No.
One
That shit
chip challenge.
literally hurts.
What are
my
you guys
taste buds.
scared?
Like hurts.
Are you
no,
little
it literally like.
sissies?
No, fuck you, dude. I've eaten
Look,
whole
some-
jalapenos and shit.
Some
Players
people
don't
don't
like it.
Going down's one thing, right? And the pain tolerance
That's why
of
it's
that.
a challenge.
But it's the going out that's the problem.
Oh, I ate some chili the other day and I put way too much hot sauce in it.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, it burned on the way out. And I'm like, oh,
You
this
know-
is what everybody was always talking about.
I don't get that
Yeah.
problem. Like, at all.
Shit hurts, man. I've been in pain
That
before.
never
I was at
happened to me
work,
before.
and
But that's why it's a
our-
challenge.
Our office isn't that big, and I'm in there trying not to let it go and make all that noise, and my ass is just burning, and I'm sitting there like, oh,
Burning down.
because
the
around
ass.
here everybody eats chilies, and my system is not used to that shit, and I've been eating some chilies lately, and it's been hurting.
Yeah.
Every Friday, I order hot wings, and I've still never experienced that problem.
No, hot wings don't do it to me like that.
Maybe
They're
the
really,
sauce
really
I'm getting
hot.
is just
Well,
too weak.
But this
Go
chili
find the
sauce
sauce
they
that
make
has a
'cause
warning label on it.
like the
I have
hat
a-
spring chili sauce they make around here, you'll get anything from mild to oh my god, and you never know when you
Right,
order
right.
from a new place. So it's like in there, and you're like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna eat it. It's fucking, it's delicious. And then the next day, and you ate like beans with it, just black beans or pintos on everything, And my system's just like, nah, bitch. You were born fucking Italian, man. You are not. Your system does not. Your system does pasta and red sauce really good.
I get to go back to the military this summer and eat MREs every day.
Hi.
It's gonna
Yeah.
burn. It's gonna burn so bad that when you take a shit, it's gonna burn the outside of you with the splash.
Ow! Ow! It's like acid.
Ass
When
ass.
I was
like-
growing up, oh, go ahead, Kyle.
What?
What were you saying?
Nothing important.
Oh, well, neither was I really. When I was growing up, we had a garden, of course, because I grew up on a farm. And my mom grew different kinds of peppers and different heats, but she never went too crazy with it because she just didn't cook like that, you know. But the what are they called? They call Anaheim peppers. The yellow wax peppers. They grow to be like this long, and they got a little bite to them, but they're not like, they have this whole different flavor than any other pepper. They are really fucking good. Like anybody,
Like
if you like
pepperoncinis?
medium, they're not hot. They got a little zing to them, but they're not hot. And they have a really good flavor, and they don't taste like any other pepper I've ever had in my life. So when I was a kid, I walk into the kitchen and mom's like slicing these peppers in half, and she's putting them on bread with butter. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm making a pepper sandwich. And I said, that's weird. And she goes, maybe it's not. Have you tried it? And I was like, no. So she put it together and she gave me a bite. And I was like,
This
can I have one of
isn't the
those?
old
She's like, help
frontier.
yourself.
I might have
It
to
was
try
so
that.
We don't have
good,
to-
man.
We
So
don't have
good.
to eat shit like that anymore. This isn't the 1860s where we're gonna like
Dude,
starve and
I
eat the
wouldn't-
baby
wasn't
and shit.
even-
Like
I wasn't even a twinkle in
Like
my
my
great grandpa's eye.
Yeah, but
my
some
grandma
of
be
those, some of
eating
those,
pickles, pig's feet, and shit like that too. It's weird.
some,
I mean,
some
when you
of
live
the-
off
some
the
of that
government,
stuff
you
is
got to
really
take
good.
what you get.
We never
My,
ate
my mom used to
never
make
ate brains or intestines.
all kinds of depression dishes that were, like affordable, but because our family was poor when I was a kid, and to this day I love them. I just baked beans on toast. It's so good and so cheap.
Right. Yeah. That's the key. It's cheap. Trust me, I've had
You know
my
what I
days
think
of fucking eating ramen and shit and trying to like afford a can of corn to split it between 3 bowls of ramen so I could eat something besides fucking a starch. I mean, the same starch. I know corn's still a starch.
Everybody
Yeah,
should try
I
a
know.
peanut butter and pickle sandwich.
My
It's
brothers tried that when I was a kid. I couldn't get into it, bro. I can't.
It's good.
You tried
Pickles.
peanut butter and
I don't know.
bologna?
No, God, no.
No.
Sounds
That just
disgusting.
sounds gross. Bologna.
You know,
Oh.
that's what
Clammy.
I thought too until my grandpa let me try one, and they're actually really good.
I won't even eat
Peanut
regular
butter
bologna
goes with
anymore.
I
If
could
it's
see
not
how that would be
Lebanon
good.
bologna, I won't fucking eat it. Lebanon bologna's the shit.
I dare you to put peanut butter on your steak.
Fuck you. You put peanut butter on my steak, I will slap you.
You
That's
said
a-
peanut butter
Will Smith.
goes with everything, so challenge.
I
That's
had to say
practically
it.
a sin.
You put anything on my goddamn steak with salt and pepper and some butter.
Beck's like
Garlic
slapping
butter.
hands. Get away from my
Yeah,
steak.
never put anything on your
Touch
steak. Just
mine.
cook it medium well, and that's good enough.
Medium.
I put-
Oh, what? What are you doing to my steak, Jenny? No.
salt,
Medium rare?
pepper,
Medium
and then
rare.
you
Nothing. I'm
Yeah.
not
you-
cooking mine correctly though.
and then you cook it in a
Some of
pan with a fuck ton of butter, and then in the
Yes.
butter you put like some spices
Uh-huh.
and some herbs, and then
Yes.
yeah.
Finish it off in the oven.
Mhm.
Bring it up to
Meanwhile, at the
temperature.
steakhouse,
or
I'll
you put
order
it on the
some
grill.
I
Yeah,
love grilling a steak.
Damn it, I'm
I love
hungry.
the grilled.
What are y'all
God, I
on a
doing
love
to me?
steak now. Damn it!
You know what I'm doing this weekend? I'm gonna take myself out to a fucking steakhouse
You
and go
do
have a
it.
steak by myself.
That's
Do
the
it.
best
Treat
thing to
yourself.
do.
There's
Treat
this one
yourself.
place
Treat
that's really
yourself,
cool.
bro.
They have this big, wide ass wooden bar, and you just eat at the bar. And they have all the fucking TVs and shit, and they'll just give you the remote. Here, change it to whatever you want. And I went there one time, and man, I had a blast. I wasn't with the person I was with. We weren't even talking. She was talking to the person over there. And I was having a conversation with a couple to my left. We didn't even hang out the whole night. But I had a blast talking to those 2 to 4 people. Like, we had a great time. So I think that's what I'm gonna do this weekend. I'm gonna go treat myself. Fuck it.
Do it.
I got my taxes in. I can afford a $40 steak right now.
Look, you know what? Like, I think it's the thing to do after, things happen. You just go, you know what? I am worth the steak. Take myself out, damn it.
That's exactly
That's
what I
right.
did with my tattoo
wait.
consultation.
Wait,
It's
Oh,
the atheist edge.
Is that Master
Atheist
Sergeant Hall?
Edge.
You're muted, bro. Maybe you went to the bathroom or something, told me you don't have to bring him in, and I did anyways. Nope, it's on him.
Maybe it's his settings. Maybe he has to
Hey,
hit the
he'll
little
come
wheel.
back. He was having an issue with his mic a little while ago on Granny's, so
Oh, okay.
we'll just give him a minute. Anyways, carry on, folks. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry to be a conversation stopper.
Oh, Jim,
Well-
hi.
There he is.
There he is.
There's a Neil sticker on that computer.
Look at all those
Oh, he's got all
stickers.
kinds of.
And the
yeah,
SC
they're-
sticker.
I think they're all from the community, right, Jim?
Yes.
Enhance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mowdy.
Enhance.
Dude, you know what I'm
Enhance.
gonna do? Can I send you a sticker? I'll
Mowdy,
make
check
one-
your DMs, Mowdy.
Okay, you need to like email me or DM me your address, and I'll send you a. I'm gonna do a new B shit.
If it won't
So-
fit on my laptop, I'll put it on my disc golf cart. So it's starting to fill
No,
up
no.
now.
I want it on the
Oh,
laptop.
you want it on
I'll
here?
I'll make it small enough. I don't care.
I gotta
That's
make a
that's
Cosmic
Yeah, I want to be
Kyle
with the
one.
legends, bro. That way, when I'm
Okay.
gone, you guys can like
Got it.
look at Jim's laptop and be like, "Oh man, I remember."
There'll be
that.
room right above Neil
I
somewhere.
remember that guy. Mowdy, come on in if you
Oh.
want, buddy.
Oh, you don't think I'm coming back, Beck?
Now I
That's
don't know what
what's
to
that?
eat.
No, I
That-
said if you don't. No, I said if I go, like I'm gone.
Oh,
Not
oh,
you.
oh!
I
I'm
said,
like,
well. I don't know
after
if you
I'm
guys know.
gone,
I
guys
volunteered
can look
with
at
the
the-
Ukrainian Foreign Legion. I don't know if you guys are aware, but
Amazing.
Yeah.
so I thought you were talking about me going and not coming back.
No, bro, you'll come back.
Positive
Fucking
thinking.
hard-headed.
Come on, man.
You're hard headed. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, plus
You
this shit
mans.
ton of training you have. That'll
Bring
help.
me back a tank.
My dad brought back a fully functional AK-47 from Vietnam, but he did it piece by piece. He sent it home. I don't think you get away with that anymore.
No.
Do
I
you
want a
have-
Russian tank that you yourself captured.
When you
Yeah.
volunteer for that,
I got it.
can I call you
one
by
piece
your
at a
first name?
time.
I'm used to you by their first name, actually. Atheist Edge. I don't know.
Oh, Jim. Jim's fine, or
Can I-
Atheist Edge, yeah.
Is that okay? Okay.
Sure.
But when
I
you
already called him that.
I
It's
know,
too late.
right? Hi, my name's Deidre. What's up? So
Yo, I'm back.
when you volunteer for that, is there like a time limit of like how long you serve there, or is it until they decide?
Ah,
Are you
okay.
locked in?
I don't want to hijack the show, Beck. Here we go. I'll just give you a quick
Go ahead,
rundown.
man.
So I applied, and they said, "Come on right now. If you're already in the air, just meet at one of these two checkpoints on the Polish border or this hotel. It's east of Warsaw." They were like, "Come on." They'll take anyone 18 to 59. They don't care what sex you are, what kind of training you have. But since then, I started doing a little research. I don't want any part of it, because even if 1% of what I'm learning is disinformation, it could very well be. But I'm learning just
Right.
really horrible stories. Like, you get there, you sign up for 3 months, it becomes a year or becomes indefinite. They take your passports or
You
they
can't
rip
get
them
out.
up in front of you, and
Mhm.
they threaten to shoot you in the
Yeah.
back if you try to
Oh.
run. And there's a weapon shortage, so they send you out. Someone said that they had him and two other guys had to sneak out of there in the back of a ambulance to get away, because they were having them go out at night without weapons to on patrol to look for Russian paratroopers. So a lot of bad.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
There's no
So
way they're ripping
what,
up
I'll go-
people's
That's
passports.
suicide.
I'll go
That's
and fight,
crazy.
but I will not be a bullet sponge for them. I mean, I'm going to
Yeah,
do this.
that's what I'm
smart.
worried
So,
about,
yeah,
because I've been
I've
reading
abandoned-
about that.
I've abandoned my idea of doing the Ukrainian Foreign Legion, but just today I just got my renewed passport in the mail. So just today I put 5 hands in the cookie jar. The Red Cross, UN peacekeeping forces, UNICEF, 2 others I forget, and I already got an email back from the American Red Cross saying, "We're interested. We're starting your background check today." So it's just a
There
matter
you
of time.
go.
And
See,
if
that's
I do
better.
go,
That's
Go with
better.
something you can trust at least 80%.
I don't mind
Yeah,
being in harm's
absolutely.
way. If UNICEF has me running into Kiev to pick up refugees like a convoy, that's cool. I'm down with that. Even if it's, all these pets are coming over the border and children.
Mhm.
If I'm doing childcare services or work in a kennel, I don't care. I just want to help somehow.
Right.
Well, hats
Yeah,
off
man.
to you, man. That's amazing.
Awesome.
I'm
Thank
glad.
you.
I'm
Yeah,
glad,
no.
because I was so worried about you. I was like, this is not good, because the more I read about it, it was like people were trapped. People's final things, they'd send a message or a video out, and then that would be the last you ever hear of them. And I was like, oh Jesus! And
Hey,
nobody can
Diane.
understand each other. There's a
Yeah.
language barrier, so people are
Right.
yelling, and you can't understand.
Mhm. So what's the topic, guys?
We were just talking about generalized shit, Jim, and
Oh,
you came in
okay.
and brought a new topic. It's fine. We don't care.
Yeah, it
This
floats.
is just an open mic, let the conversation flow kind of deal.
Yeah.
Hello, Mouty.
Godless
to
Granny's
all.
going to take, if I do go, Godless Granny's going to take over my channel and my social media and everything. And I'm going to ask all my patrons to jump ship either to her or to someone else that they like. And in the event I don't come back, then we've got plans. And when she does my show from my channel, she's going to be Edgy Granny. And she's already got the Atheist Edge ball cap.
Edgy Granny.
Edgy Granny, she's got the Atheist Edge t-shirt, and now she's on the lookout.
I love her.
She's going to get a fake goatee to wear. It'll be funny.
I love Granny, man. That lady right there. I love her, man. She's such a God. She's brilliant and knows so much shit, and yet is so receptive to new information. And she doesn't get offended. She absorbs it, and it's always a good conversation. And damn it, Kyle, you better come back, young man.
Granny's one of
no,
those
I love being around Granny. She's great.
She's like Ben. She's a subject matter expert at religion and the Bible, and she's been indoctrinated, so studied in it back when she was a believer. And she's a great asset for the community there too. And like really Ben, for all the biology questions we have, especially now with all the transgender women in sports cropping back up.
Well, plus also, I don't know if you know, Jim, but Granny's ace, and she found that out by hanging out with the community.
What's that mean?
He didn't know
asexual.
how to identify that.
Oh, asexual. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. She's not
ace
interested
as
not into that.
Anything.
That's all right.
Yeah, she just never ever.
There's a place at the table for everyone. And
yeah,
there's, as far as the way I understand, there's like different flavors of ace too. Like there's not just one type.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's a whole spectrum of ace.
I'm under the umbrella and I don't know half of it, Jim. There's so much. There's just so many. And because people are learning about themselves more now than ever. They're and not only learning about themselves, but they're free to say, hey, I'm learning this about myself.
Yeah, they're allowed.
So
it's like
Mouty.
once you're given permission, right? The doors are wide open.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, so it's I feel like there's more platforms, there's more support, there's more advocacy, and they're not afraid to say it anymore. So now more people, so with them figuring out who they are, then they're going, well, wait a minute, but I'm not this and I'm not that, and then they find the spot in between, and then we have and as much as I don't like labels, it's the easiest way to explain things these days because everything is so detailed and so nuanced, and you just the labels are just easier.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Ox, you kind of have a point. Being a meat shield. I mean, listen. If I had any regard for my own personal safety and security, I wouldn't be going over there. So I know that is an option. But at least give me a weapon. I'm not saying those rumors are true, but if there's even any truth to those, if there's a weapon shortage. Don't send out unarmed people searching for paratroopers in the middle of the night. I don't know. That's for starters.
Yeah, that's just insane, man. Like, that's insane. It's like just like suicide mission every single night.
Yeah, I'm down with dying for a cause I believe in, but I would rather let the other bastard die for their country,
Right. But
that's the goal.
It's not my country. I'm just trying to help, right?
But not without a fighting chance like that.
Globalist is a dirty word to conservative Republicans. I am a globalist and I'm proud of it. I'm a citizen of planet Earth, and right now they need us. They need anyone they can get.
Hell yeah.
Anyway.
There is a thing, though, live today to fight tomorrow kind of thing. And if they're going to be irresponsible with the people that they get, then I think you would be better to do, Red Cross, stuff like that.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's jobs even in UNICEF or Red Cross. I even applied. One of the 5 I applied to today was Texas Baptist Men organization. They send people over every 2 weeks, and they
I was
swap
going to
out
say,
people every 2
all
weeks.
the people you're mentioning are sending people over all the time. They already have all of that established.
Yes, they've got
So that
pipelines.
feels like a safe way from. Yeah,
Say
I
what
like
you will
that.
about Christians. I mean, I know it's ulterior motives. They're going to go try to preach the gospel over there, but if that's a way
Yeah,
in,
whatever.
I'll even pretend to be a Christian. I don't care. I just got to get over there.
Yeah. Well, hell, why not, Jim? We've all done it in the past, anyways.
But they're only staying over for 2 weeks at a time. I'm like, what? No, just sign me up for at least 3 months. You know, do a year.
I mean, yeah,
pump.
why go over there, all the way over there,
That
and get
sounds-
into all that, and get established, figure out where your fucking ass or your hole in the ground is. By that time, you're leaving again. It's going to take
It
2
sounds
weeks
like
to
guys-
adapt.
And it's Texas Baptist Men, so it sounds like a men only kind of deal. And
Mhm.
they're bringing over expired police issue body armor that's been donated. It sounds like they're just getting there, dropping off some body armor and some deuce gear, and then coming home and being able to say, "I was over there." You know what?
Oh, yeah.
That's not enough for me. I
No.
don't want to go over there just for like a badge of honor. It's not about honor. It's
Right.
about helping. Yeah. Anyway. Oh,
I was
you
at the
made
pot
Grey
shop
Wolf
today, and the guy
Yeah.
goes, "Here, let me give you a whole handful of cones for free." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't even know what he was talking about. And he threw the cones for rolling joints in there. And I came home, and all I had left was keef. So this bottom half is just keef. So I'm about to be really fucked up. Just a forewarning for everybody. It's the best way to sleep. Well, I
The
killed that
fire
bunny
rises
face and
too. Hello. On Twitch.
Kitty says she's going to bless us with her presence soon.
Okay, perfect. Lasagna is just spaghetti flavored cake. Discuss. Like Jim's grinning. He loves this kind of shit.
I mean, it does have layers.
This is a great topic for my debate nights.
Yeah, this is like this could be a heated debate.
We had a whole debate about hot dogs or hot dog
being a
sandwiches.
Sandwiches, yes.
We had like
I saw
a
that
whole
Hot dogs are
discussion about that.
sandwiches. It's bread
we came
with
to-
some fucking
yeah.
shit in the middle. It's a sandwich. Especially when the bun breaks, it's definitely a sandwich then. There's no debating it anymore.
But yeah, this
Tacos are
lasagna
sandwiches.
spaghetti flavored cake would be a great debate topic.
Hex,
About the
what's
lasagna
up,
being
man? I
cake,
haven't seen you in
I
forever.
think it could be, except it's not spaghetti flavored, it's tomato flavored.
And cake has a meaning. It's the flour
Yeah,
used.
see,
It's a
you
cake
can't-
mix.
honestly-
You can't call it a cake.
You can't, yeah, you cannot do that. And technically a lasagna is a casserole. So it is not a cake anyways. Second of all, if your lasagna tastes like spaghetti, this is coming from an Italian guy. If your lasagna tastes like spaghetti, you fucked up. It should
You
not
forgot
taste like spaghetti.
you forgot the
Ricotta
cheeses.
that cheese stuff.
All the ricotta,
Ricotta.
and that's what you
Ricotta.
forgot. The Parmesan, the mozzarella, and yeah, you forgot some shit there. So if your spaghetti tastes like your lasagna, just hit me up on I don't know, Twitter or something, and
Doing
I'll
it
give you a
wrong.
good recipe. I'll show you. I'll tell you how to do it. Yeah, it's good. I make really good. Actually, I'm a really good cook. Which
Yeah,
is weird because
cheesecake
I
is
never
not
cook.
a cake.
Cheesecake is a pie. Yes, pertaining
Food
to
after
cake,
I
absolutely.
leave. I get it.
I thought
get
it
it.
was I thought it was a stick of butter.
Well, Mowdy had this whole thing in my Discord about raviolo. Like, I
Listen,
think Mowdy's name
raviolo?
is still Raviolo.
A
The
calzone
oversized-
is an oversized raviolo.
No,
Yeah,
a
we're having this
calzone
discussion.
is a calzone is a pizza folded in half and cooked like that. That's what the fuck.
Which is a sandwich.
which is a sandwich.
Oh no.
No, it's a
Just
dumpling.
closed. It's
That's
a
a
closed
dumpling.
burrito is a sandwich. There's
No, a
Broken
raviolo
noodle
is
guys.
a raviolo
on the
is a
outside.
dumpling. A raviolo
it
is a
really is.
dumpling. Technically a calzone and a hot pocket they would be dumplings, but they would also be sandwiches.
They could be giant dumplings.
Yeah, they're giant dumplings and sandwiches at the same time.
No, they can't be sandwiches. They're not on bread.
Dumpling chiz.
They don't have to be on bread. They have
A calzone
starch
is on
around
bread.
it.
A calzone is on bread.
Starch around it. Sandwich.
No, they're on crust.
What is a Monte Cristo
Crust
then?
is bread. It's a wheat-based
The fuck
crust,
is a Monte
usually.
Cristo?
A
Monte
Monte-
Cristo is. Let me try to get. If I remember right, it's chicken, ham. Look, and it's all layered with cheese, and then it's rolled in batter and then deep fried, right? Something like that.
Yep, and usually they put powdered sugar and raspberry dipping sauce.
That's right.
Yeah,
What the hell is that?
I need Stags to come back because
I would eat it without the jelly stuff.
Stags has this whole thing about sandwiches, and
Oh yeah.
I need Stags to clear this up.
I just had this conversation tonight in class because it covers the psychological topic of categories and concepts. So I literally, in class tonight, asked my class if a taco is a sandwich, covering the same exact topic. I love it. Synchronicity at its best.
Woohoo.
I think you could make an argument that it's a sandwich.
Which
Dog,
one?
whatever nefarious
taco.
Monte
things
Cristo?
do you think other countries have planned for that country? The first step, no one in their right mind is saying that they were not attacked unprovoked. So no matter what you think different countries are trying to, their ulterior motive for coming in and helping, supporting them, and they're going to bleed them dry once the country's saved. I mean, that's like a secondary argument. They were unprovoked attacked. I've been to Iraq, Afghanistan. Iraq was false pretenses. The fact we were there, we did some good while we were there, but we went under false pretenses. I don't consider it a just war, and I think we did more harm than good. Afghanistan, maybe to a lesser extent, but same deal. And being a Spanish interpreter and intelligence collection guy for 21 years in active duty, I did a lot of counter narcotics in Central South America. Futile at best. We maybe caught 5% of all the incoming. And what does it matter now? Especially the marijuana. 18 states have legalized recreational marijuana now. That was a futile effort. So basically, my entire 21 years in active duty was either futile or under false pretenses. This is the first time no one can deny the fact that it is a just cause, and going there is a worthwhile effort.
Dude, you just gave me goosebumps, man.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. You're right. You're fucking right.
This,
You're right.
this we're only helping them because we want to bleed them dry and take their resources later. What? We're standing up to a bully. The world needs to stand up to this bully. I was crying, yelling about this in 14 when they took Crimea. Why didn't we ram a Marine Expeditionary Force right up Putin's ass at that time?
What is it? The
I
question
think
here
we're
is,
all afraid
Jim.
because they got the nukes. Like I think people are afraid of Russia. They really are.
Yeah.
Jim, what my question is, why is everybody sitting back and letting this happen right now? What is the benefit to the powers that be that want more money all the time? What is the benefit to them for this to happen right now? That's the real question.
Beck, or any of you, have you guys turned on Fox News lately? Have you
Fuck
seen the kind of
no.
have you seen the
I
kind of
don't
crap
even do it to myself, man. I
Tucker
just get mad.
Carlson, and all of them, really? I mean, it is so disgustingly pro-Putin Russian propaganda over there. They are defending the act. How can you defend these actions? It's like they have to be on the wrong side of every argument. I don't get it.
The Russians are blowing up people's houses. That is the main target.
Well, the Russians say that's
That is
disinformation.
because they don't. Here's the thing. This is what I think. I think the Russians want all the industrial and everything, any kind of resources they can get from Ukraine. They want the port. They want all that shit, right? And I get that. People in Russia are saying that the Ukrainians are blowing up their own places. Nobody's going to blow up their own house. That is the definition of insanity.
All they've
You don't blow
admitted
up your
to
own
is
house,
the child
and you
care
don't
center
get 10,000 people blowing up their own houses.
Yeah.
So they can say that they can fight with Russia, who happens to be in their country and not in their own.
There are reports that the
It's
Kremlin
ridiculous.
is actually airing Tucker Carlson clips
Yep.
in Russia
Who is?
because the
That's
Kremlin,
that's
the
not a
Russian
rumor.
government.
Oh my
That's
God.
not a rumor.
I said
That's
there are
actually
reports,
happened.
not a rumor.
Yeah.
I said reports, but
Yep.
Tucker Carlson is being aired in Russia. What Tucker Carlson says is okay by the Russian government. They are approving that to be released as propaganda to their people.
Right. Yeah, no, they've literally interviewed some Russian people in Russia, and they said, "Oh, Ukraine's just blowing themselves up. We're not doing anything. We're not over there."
Those silly assholes.
You believe him? They're telling you that. Putin's telling people that, and they fucking believe. Now, I don't know if they are right now, but that was as of like 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago.
And to be fair,
So I don't know if
propaganda
that's
is
changed.
powerful. And when you are fed a steady diet of propaganda over years, I mean, there's a really good
Yes, Mage.
article that was done. I forget the guy's name, but the article is titled, "I Lost My Dad to Fox News." And it basically
Seth Andrews.
explains. Did he read that?
Yeah, I think so. Oh,
I
he
thought
wrote
it
a
was a
book about it.
reporter.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, this was an
Oh, all right.
article.
All right.
I think it was a reporter, but same basic thing, that basically his father was a conservative, voted Republican, but was like mild and laid back and moderate, but as Fox News's propaganda has been ramped up more and more and more, now he's turned into this hateful, bigoted, xenophobic, like cretin. And it's all because of a steady diet of propaganda, really othering other people, of we are the only trustworthy source, so that people put their fingers in their ears, much like religious indoctrination. I mean, it's really not that dissimilar.
Right.
And is it any surprise that the ones that are indoctrinated in what you're talking about, Kitty, are the same ones that have already been heavily indoctrinated in religion? They go hand in hand. If you fall for one, you're going to fall for the dominoes start following, and flat Earth and all manner of weird conspiracy theories too.
Yeah,
It's
no,
all the same
because
type of person.
that's why grifters tend to prey on the religious, because once you open the door to fantastical thinking, you become a much easier mark, because you are not having, that critical thinking or questioning sources. You just, if the person goes to your church, you know them, so they wouldn't lie to you, so what they say is true, that kind of
Right.
thing.
I find that atheists are completely susceptible to the same hype, the same propaganda as theists when it comes to
Oh
things like
yeah.
this. When it comes to
Oh yeah.
politics, when it comes to their money, when it comes to their resources, they have the same weakness that all of us have, really. It's just that theists have sort of a moral obligation because God and their pastor and stuff like that, where atheists don't. But the propaganda machine's still there. They're still susceptible. They're still susceptible to dogmatic thinking. I don't think they're immune to it.
Yeah. No, well, it's just like my brother says. Because I said to him one time, well, they're biased. And he's like, we all are. And I was like, what? He's like, think about it. We all are. We all have our own thoughts and opinions.
We
all
also
believe
talked
certain
about that in
things.
class today.
That instantly makes us biased just by default. Now, if we can not let that come into play and be objective, that's a whole different skill. But we're just instantly biased. And he's right. We are.
Yeah, we all have cognitive biases because our brain is prone to shortcuts.
Thank you. That's what it's called. Cognitive bias. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Well, I mean, it was actually part of like why I asked the question that I did on Monday on your stream, Beck, because I didn't know how to feel about like those feelings that I had of not wanting any more struggling or, hardships for my child, and I was like, is this like
Yeah.
a bias thing? Like, am I like, is it actually,
No,
like
see,
a
I don't.
bad thing or
No,
what? But I wanted to
no.
ask.
Yeah, no, I don't. Okay, I'll go first, and then Ben can go and whatever. Because if I don't say it right now, I'll forget because I'm ADHD. Wanting the best for your child, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure that at some point in time in someone's life, someone who was white thought, damn, I wish I was black so my life was easier, because the area I live in or the place I live in or the country I live in, it would be easier. I'm sure there's some black person out there that thought, God damn, this fucking sucks. it's just, you know what I'm saying? No one wants their kids to go through shit, and nobody wants to go through shit. So if you're just wanting the best for your child, that's just being a good mother. You know, no one wants their, just like you wouldn't want your kid to look geeky with glasses so he got picked on in school. You know, you want him to look cool or whatever, right? So he fits into the crowd. That's how the most parents are. But it's not bad. It's not materialism. It's just they just want them to fit in, so they're not bullied and they're not picked on and they're not pushed aside and shunned. Because trust me, been there. That sucks. But yeah, no, I don't think there's anything bad with you not wanting your child to be trans or something just because of the hell it would bring him. I don't think that's bad. You're just watching your kids back.
I mean, because even with affirmation and therapy and surgeries, like dysphoria is something that, you know, if the trans person has dysphoria, it's something they're going to live with the rest of their life. And then there's the discrimination of others. And I was like, I mean, do having like these feelings make me transphobic? Like, I honestly genuinely was concerned about that. I was like, it's not that I wouldn't love my child and I wouldn't support them in whatever they chose.
Well, you know, the bottom line is
my life my child's life to be harder than it already is, you know, like being on the autism spectrum.
Autism is enough. And that's why I think if it was you know, one of those preppy white kids that are privileged that have everything and the parent thought that would piss me off. But it's a lot different.
If there was a way I could have a child and guarantee
let me
that
just finish my sentence. I just want to finish my sentence. See, now you fucked me up so bad I can't even finish it. Go ahead. Damn.
You might remember it in a bit. Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm ADD. It's just I have to say it if I have to say it right away. That's why I was trying to go first, like literally. No, go ahead though, Jenny. Seriously, that wasn't sarcasm. I forgot. Go ahead. Or you're muted. Okay, well, anyways, Ben, your turn, I guess. What do you think about it?
Ben's muted.
Can I hear you, bro? Oh,
God damn it! I keep doing that because I've been typing.
I know.
I was trying to talk when Mowdy was talking, but I was muted because I've been typing and my computer's loud. But yeah, like I talk a lot about bias on my channel. Because I mean, you're all gonna have it. It's like learning how to recognize which biases you're most susceptible to, and then like thinking about it while it's happening, which is a difficult thing to do. But yeah, I mean, we all do it. Like it's the mental shortcuts thing, and I call it cognitive laziness because it's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Stags.
Yeah, that's me. I'm that guy.
No. Oh no. We had an argument earlier that like you weren't here for and you needed to be here for.
Oh god,
it's about sandwiches.
It's about so it was about if like because we went from lasagna being like spaghetti cake, and then it was if a calzone is a raviolo, which is a dumpling. And then I said it's both a dumpling and a sandwich. And then there was some talk about no, it's a pizza because it's on a crust. Like, but I was saying that you would say it was still a sandwich.
Well, a pizza is a sandwich.
It's an open face sandwich.
Yeah. She gets it.
Hi, Bree. If you want to come in, let me know.
I mean, technically, an argument could be made that breaded buffalo wings would be a sandwich because you have a breading on a meat, you know, or that chicken tenders could potentially be, or any breaded meat.
Yeah, Stags has a very out there worldview, and I think he should share it because your statements about the chicken, like fit into Stags's worldview.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think after the conversation we had, I need to reevaluate my bigger, broader picture worldview. But I still stand by everything I said about sandwiches, specifically like mozzarella sticks are definitely sandwiches. Burritos
Stacks
are
made the
sandwiches.
claim that all food is on a spectrum between soup and sandwich.
I don't know about all food, but I do think that the definition of a sandwich, like I think Matt Pat from game theory, food theory, and film theory, like he's got 3 channels. I think he actually did an entire episode on the channel Food Theory, where he was talking about all of this things that are actually sandwiches, like, you know, pizza and hot dogs and breaded chicken wings.
A bread bowl of like clam chowder in a bread bowl. That's a sandwich.
Someone save me. Why the hell does this hot dog sound good to me right now?
I have hot dogs because we were eating
hot dogs.
I probably shouldn't. It's too salty.
Ooh, Brainbug makes a really good point. Is a breaded chicken sandwich a sandwich on a sandwich?
Well, I mean, what?
But breading is
Like-
not the same as like a dumpling or something or a batter. Breading and
No,
batter
it's still
are not the same
sandwich.
thing.
In
Yeah,
Stags'
but-
worldview,
It's
it's
still
still
a sandwich.
sandwich.
But it's just like
Oh, yeah.
a sandwich inside of a sandwich. Now you're getting like a little
Sandwichception.
weird.
Let's
Like,
talk about
I
your
mean,
sandwich worldview.
it's just a sandwich. Like, it's just got layers. You know what I mean? It's just one sandwich.
Yeah, it's got layers of meats or cheeses or veggies or whatever, and you know, whatever you want to put on it. Yeah.
Like a Big Mac isn't like a sandwich and a half or anything. It's just one sandwich.
Yeah, it's just got an extra layer to it. Yeah. Which, by the way, I just want to point out to everybody, I'm really mad about that because they have gotten smaller and smaller. They're like this big around now. It's
the medium
fucking
max.
ridiculous.
They're medium max.
Yeah, they're 1/3 max. That's what
And
they are.
they cost like twice as much.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
could go to In-N-Out for less, and it's way
Yeah.
yummier.
Yes, agreed. That's like we have Blake's Lotta Burger here, and what's that other place? Fuck. There's another place that's like a Southwest only place that we have here. Anyways, fucking good burgers, man. Nice and greasy and shit. Made right there in front of you. Fuck yeah. Oh, the other place I love is Five Guys because they don't freeze all their stuff. They have no freezers.
So I don't
All their
like,
stuff is fresh.
I don't like
Huh?
Five Guys, but like I know people love Five Guys. I
Fucking
just
love
couldn't.
Five Guys.
I don't know.
I love Five Guys. Five Guys is
We know Ben does.
basically like it's very similar to In-N-Out. Like
Yes.
I've had
It is.
both.
It's got a
and,
following too.
I think it's
like,
better
I
than
love
In-N-Out.
Five Guys. But I think it's better than In-N-Out
never had
too,
In-
but it's
I've
more
never had In-N-Out.
expensive. So, you know, when you're a broke ass bitch, like granted, I'm not on the West Coast, so like
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't have an In-N-Out in Florida anyway.
No, I know what you're talking about. You're trying to maximize the bang for your buck without having to go to a McDonald's burger, and you're just like, what do I get besides McDonald's? And you're like, oh, Five Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're gonna pay at McDonald's, you might as well go to Five Guys. Because
Yeah.
for what you get for burgers, it's actually cheaper. Because it's real meat. And the buns are actually substantial and they don't keep getting smaller. They're actually like a hamburger.
And
Oh my
you're
God.
paying for the meat and
I'm
the
sorry,
cheese.
Ben. You wanna
You can get all the toppings you want for free.
She never comes by here. The
She
one
never
time
comes
we're
by,
actually
they're
discussing
always
Five
at
Guys when
Five
she's not
Guys.
here and she shows up.
She's like, someone say Five Guys?
Okay,
fucking
she
love
started the
Susan.
Five Guys trend on my Twitch channel.
Did you guys see I don't know who's following me on TikTok, and if you're not and you're on TikTok,
The T files.
it's very thank you, holy spackle. It's very disappointing to me because I put out some good shit. Most of my shit's funny. But anyways, not the point. So Susan did this video of the guy with the beard thing, the overlay or whatever they call it, special effect. And so I saw it and I was like, dude, I have to fucking stitch this. So I do edit it and did it at the same time as her. It was funny as hell. So I told her, I said, now you have to let me know every time you do something really funny because I want to be in on. I'm gonna fucking do it.
What's your TikTok?
Be no just beat, no spaces, no capitals.
There's a TikTok where a
Dash.
guy, he's asking his mother if she's ever had Five Guys, and she said, "Yeah, once in college." He goes, "No, I'm at the restaurant."
Oh snap! Sometimes maybe guess you got to watch what you're asking, right? That's the point.
In and out, Five Guys. It's all innuendo. Now that you think about it.
Well, you
Mhm.
know, Jim, you know about Come and Go, don't you? The gas station.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
dude.
It's spelled
Out
K-U-M.
here, yeah, out
But it-
west, there's the
but
come
is
and
it-
Yeah,
go.
But is
K-U-M
it-
Seen
and
that.
go.
But
Yep.
is it full service? That's what I want to know.
It is not. It's just a shitty little.
Following
fucking
this
gas
train of
station.
thought, though, I don't want to think about the Piggly Wiggly.
Mm,
Are those even still around? I haven't seen one in
I think
ages.
they still have
Yeah,
them
Piggly
in Florida.
Wiggly
Yeah.
still around. Absolutely.
You know, there's up in
We
the
don't have them
Pacific
in Florida.
Northwest. The Pacific Northwest has the a chain called Stinkers.
Sphincters.
Sphinx.
Fucking
Stink-
awesome.
Stinkers, like when you stink, when you smell. Stinkers.
Oh, that's okay.
Sphincters.
If it was called sphincters, I was gonna die.
We
I
know
was
where
just
Beck's
fucking
mind
crazy.
is tonight.
Well, you know. It's been a hot minute. It's getting steady
there
there
are
for a
no
minute. I
words.
just got cut off, man.
Sphincters.
That's fucking bullshit.
Sphincters.
It's been over
We
a
just
month.
got a Buc-ee's here in Florida, which it's apparently a Texas thing.
Oh yeah.
If you like beaver jerky.
I mean, I'll try anything once, twice if it's fun. If
Are
it's
you
real fun,
kidding?
a few more times to be sure. But I don't
Yeah.
know. It doesn't sound appealing.
Clearly,
Yeah.
Kitty likes alligator jerky. Come on.
I mean, right?
Okay, no, honestly, truly, alligator tastes like chicken. And I know they say everything tastes like chicken, but it really fucking does
I don't
taste
know.
like chicken.
When I had
Does
it, it
it really?
tasted more like fish.
No, it's like a slightly gamey chicken.
Jim, my joint has so much THC in it, it's leaking out like oil, and the whole. Look how dark it is. It's all Keef.
Oh, I've still got a baggie full of gummy
It's
bears
like
from
sticky.
Colorado from last summer. I just don't
Oh,
do it
really?
that much. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh shit, man.
I had to stop partaking
Not much in
for
edibles.
reasons,
I just like my leaf.
and I miss it because I'm
Sorry.
so anxious without it now. Like it's helped my anxiety, and so to take it away now, I'm like so wound up. I'm like I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to rage.
Deidre,
You said they took your
maybe-
pot away?
I have to because I might be switching jobs and reasons and stuff.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about that today because everything's going to shit at work now that her and I aren't together anymore, just like I knew it would.
Oh, prepare
So
for
here we go.
agitation. You take it away, all
So-
of a sudden you're like, "Arr!"
I was like, oh, that's right. First, I have a cannabis card, so the places that accept that, it won't matter. Second, there's a place right up the road, $18. I can buy some fake pee. I've already used it like 2 or 3 times from that place. Works fine.
You're gonna be like Gattaca. You know, Ethan Hawke has the pee, and he has it running up his hand, so he hides it, and he's like, Psst,
Well,
you
it
know.
sucks that she was so cool about it when you're together, and then now it's awful.
I'm
What?
like, wait, you
Your
guys broke up?
situation. Beck's
Oh,
situation.
you mean talking about my mental health stuff?
Oh no,
Ethan?
just like certain things that didn't like she was super cool about when you're together,
Yeah.
and now she's just being a shit
Yes,
about.
the tides
Yeah.
are turning, my friend. The tides
Yeah.
are turning. Funny enough, I already put in 4 applications because I kind of just thought on Saturday, yeah, I might be fucked. Might need to get the fuck out of there. So, so I put in like 4 applications, and I've already heard back from one about a possible interview.
Yeah.
So,
just in case. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it, man. I got bills to pay. I'm poor. I have no money saved. I pay my bills, and I have a few bucks left over at the end of the month where I can buy a few small things for myself, extra. You know, that's it. So I can't not work. I have a credit card that'll carry me for about about a month and a half. That's about it. So, yeah, it's just shit. It's all good. Not the worst I've been through. And I'm sure it'll be worse than this at some point.
It sucks.
Gator
It's
jerky
our
is good,
fault.
said Mage. Beaver nuggets? Are you fucking kidding me right now, Susan?
Beaver
Beaver
nuggets?
nuggets are amazing. Are they made out of the beaver balls or just?
It's their
skin?
poops. It's the poops.
The poops? What?
Yeah, you fry up the poops.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You guys
And
fucking
Bucky's,
nasty.
they have the
You're fucking
beaver
gross, bro.
jerky.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a beaver poop? It's like it's the size of like a tater tot.
I don't know why you're disbelieving Stags. Stags has never said anything false in his entire life.
Oh, look.
I,
You
They're the
guys
first
want
for
proof?
everything.
There you
Yeah,
go. There's your
that's
link.
the-
There's your link.
I feel like there's
Proof.
some things you ought not to eat.
Stags is incapable of saying things that are ridiculous.
You mean like
Well,
little fried
everything is
corn
true.
pops, like little fried balls of corn? Is that what you mean?
And they're like corn pops.
Like the
And-
cereal, I think, like corn pops.
Yeah, they're poops. They're like
Well, if it's a pile of shit and it's coming out of Texas, that all makes sense.
Who says all vegetarians are militant? Because not once so far have I condemned you guys for talking about this shit. And I have not
Oh.
once said meat is murder. And I'm thinking it the whole time.
You know, I was
I mean-
minding
Hey, you
my
watch
own
it, Jim.
business.
Don't be eating my food's food, buddy.
Well, now
I was a vegetarian for 4 years, and I just recently went back to eating meat.
Would-
So
would-
it's-
would-
it
that's
was really
that's
weird
rare.
for me.
would
It's-
beaver
if you
food
went
be
that
considered-
long, it's very rare to go back.
I wasn't getting enough to eat, and I just had to eat.
What do you mean?
the
Enough
same-
actual just food content, or
Yeah.
enough vitamins and minerals, or protein?
Probably not enough
Yes.
protein and
Agreed.
vitamins and
There's
enough
more
food
protein
altogether.
in a cup of oats than there is in a T-bone steak.
I don't understand how beaver nuggets could be kind of like corn pops. I don't.
Look,
But
I
you're
can't-
you're severely still limiting your
Okay.
options of protein if you go vegetarian.
And
So
my kids eat meat, so all the food I buy is mostly with them in mind.
There's a
and
show we could do, Ben.
I just end up not getting
You
enough.
could.
The
You would
science of
probably
veganism.
intellectually bitch slap me, but we could have a little mini debate on the pros and cons of being a vegetarian and ethical concerns.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers there, and it's like that's really what bothers me about like the people who are like militant vegans. Like, because I have no problem with people making their own choices for themselves. Like, that's your
Right.
own business. But like, it's when people decide that their priorities are everyone else's priorities, and that
Thank you.
like that's
Exactly.
what is like, because you don't understand anyone else's situation except your own, and it's very I mean, my big thing, like, it's very expensive.
Oh, see,
It's very expensive to
and
be.
if you're
to-
living on a really fixed budget, being a vegetarian, it might not even be an option.
it's not.
Yeah.
Like, and to get, because you'd have to, in order to be even satiated, not even like having good nutrition, it's expensive. You'd have to buy a lot of food. And
Well,
that's
it's
not
almost a
sustainable
science.
for the majority of Americans. It's not sustainable.
And you have to eat a lot. So if you have a job
Yeah.
where it prevents you from eating a lot, like I've noticed that my vegan
Mm.
friends who work really hard to be healthy about it, really hard and do a lot of research, and it's almost a science where they're like, I need this much protein. They eat a lot. They are grazing throughout the day and like stuffing down protein.
Yeah, I push back on that. Your portion size doesn't have to be any more or less than a carnivore.
No,
It's
but
not
you'd have to.
portion
That's
size,
a
It's not
myth.
it's the
portion
amount.
size.
It's
It's you have to space it. You have to space it out through the day
Yes,
instead of
that's
if
it.
you eat all
That's
at
what
once. It's
anyone should be
rapidly.
doing.
It's rapidly. Yeah, it's what everyone should be doing. But like, think about it. Not everyone has that luxury in their jobs where they can do that. Like, look at me. I can't. Like, I'm
Not
barely
set up that way. Yeah.
able to do anything besides like if I can eat at all when I'm at work. Like when I was on cardiology, there's no fucking way I'm getting out of that office.
What
to-
do you
to-
usually eat when you like run into the shop and you got maybe 10 minutes to grab something and eat? What do you eat?
I gotta bring food with me, and it's
Right.
usually either like
Like name some.
it's probably
things.
usually a
What do you
sandwich
bring?
because that's the easiest thing to do.
What's
Okay,
the most
why couldn't
expensive
you
thing
why
on
couldn't
the
you
sandwich?
do tofurkey slices instead of ham?
Because that's expensive.
Yeah, okay. So price, not availability, not portion size. Yeah. so
Because like
price,
if you
got me.
if you
So-
stuck with the cheap options for vegetarian food, you'd it's digested so quickly. You'd have to have more throughout the day.
Vegetarian
You couldn't eat once and have it be as satiating for as long.
I push back. I'm 50 pounds overweight, and they say, so if there's any, my portion sizes are way bigger than they should be. You can survive on normal, like same as what a meat eater is. Yeah, I don't agree with that. And I'm not an expert.
Let me push back.
Because,
let me push back. Okay. Because if you're eating, and we're not saying if you're eating, overeating, let's say your portion sizes are what they should be for your body size. If you were to eat equal amounts of food, like calorie wise for your body size, it's still the plant-based matter is going to be, it's less digestible, number one, because you've got cellulose, which you're not even using. Secondly, it's digested more quickly. So that's why you're going to have to eat more frequently. You're going to have to space it out differently. Whereas you can go longer with animal-based products.
Most of the vegetarian
unless you're factoring in these crazy expensive mimics, but that's a cost issue that then also factors in. But if you take just the affordable options, you don't have much.
We got like bread, potatoes. If you're just a vegetarian, not a vegan,
those aren't proteins though. Those aren't proteins though.
No. Most of the vegetarian options on the shelf now and in McDonald's and even Carl's Jr. has got all these fast food places that I haven't eaten at in 15 years are now open back up to me. It's crazy. I go get Impossible Whoppers at Burger King like maybe once a week. It's glorious. It's such a... It really brings back a lot of memories back when I used to eat at Burger King. I love it, but yes, it's very expensive.
So my point is that
it's the same as like 3 regular Whoppers.
Yeah. So my point is that like, it's fine if someone wants to make that decision for themselves, but like people who think that they can make that decision, the best decision for somebody else, that they're not in their shoes on this issue, there are too many layers to dig into to where it is not a one size fits all for everybody. It can't be.
Susan.
So people need to calm their shit. I do think, however, there should be more ethical ways like available to eat animal products. Like, I'm not saying that our system is good, but I think that there are ways to consume animal products that are ethical. We're just
you eat eggs?
Not really doing it right now.
I don't want to get on a soapbox and preach. Forget I even asked that. I'm not going to preach.
No. What do you want to say?
This is all I'll say. I don't want to be that militant guy though. Because there's so many of them.
No, you've already established yourself that you are. So
damn it. If you eat eggs, I thought, why can't you eat eggs? And I talked to a vegan friend of mine. He goes, here's why. When baby chicks are born, they need the female ones to make them egg-laying hens or for the meat, right? What do they do with the baby boy chicks? They can't lay eggs. What do you do with a baby boy chick? You can't. No one eats.
But that's not an issue with egg eating itself. That's an issue with the system.
It's a byproduct of it. It's a byproduct.
They kill them.
Yeah, they run them like a conveyor belt into a wood chipper. No, they just run them up like a conveyor belt line, and they.
Let me talk. That is not an issue. That is not an issue with the egg consumption itself. That is an issue with the system that is producing this and consumerizing it. That's the problem. If you have a small homestead that's not doing that, the egg consumption is not the problem. It's the system.
Which is why I buy local every time I can. And
we actually had egg-laying hens
if I can avoid it.
When I was younger, we actually had a few egg-laying hens at our home, and I don't see any, even for a vegan, I don't see anything unethical about if you have a hen at your home. You're not killing baby chickens, they're unfertilized eggs. Like, the hen's gonna lay them anyway.
Yeah, it's like, so I do have problems with the factories, with the way that they are
industrial
treating animals.
The issue.
It's it's the system. It's not the local farms. It's not the homesteaders. It's not
Right.
those. It's and so that's where I have a problem. Like people are taking out their problems on the system, on anyone that's doing it at all, and like that's not the issue.
I mean,
Yeah.
not only could I not afford a
There he is.
vegan, diet, a vegan lifestyle, but honestly, I, even being a meat eater, struggle to get enough iron. When I go donate blood, they have to run my blood in the centrifuge because I'm right at that level where they won't even take your blood because you're slightly anemic. And so every time I donate blood, I fail the drop test and they have to centrifuge my blood before I can donate. And I can't take iron supplements. They absolutely destroy my stomach. And so if I don't eat meat a few times a week, I actually get physically ill from iron deficiency because I'm right on that borderline. And I've tried eating other iron-rich foods, but it just is not enough. My body just doesn't process that properly, and the supplements make me really ill.
Yeah. No, I get it. I've tried to go vegan. I tried to go vegan with one of my exes, and she had really awesome recipes, and I started enjoying cooking them and stuff. So, I was like, well, fuck, I don't need meat all the time. I have all this, blah, blah, blah. I started feeling shitty all the time. I cannot, and I'm telling you, we ate a wide variety of different kind of vegetarian dishes, different kinds of beans, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, we did everything, and we always loaded it up with protein for me. And I just can't do it. I have to eat meat. I feel sick if I don't. If I go more than 2 days without meat, I will literally just feel, if anybody's here ever had a hypoglycemic attack, you feel shaky and sick to your stomach, and you're nauseous and shit, and if you get too hot, I start shaking worse whenever I get too hot. I don't know why.
I get
But it makes it
rather
worse.
lethargic, and
Yeah,
I
you
just
get lethargic and just want to sleep. Yeah, that's what happens to me. Day and a half to 2 days every
and
time.
I'm sure I'm not the only one,
Yeah, no.
I apologize, Jim. I didn't. I hope you didn't leave because we were getting intense.
Oh no, I didn't even know I was gone. I was talking away, and by getting the connection stopped.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't want to. I'm going to step off the soapbox, though. I will just say, and in the nicest possible way, you guys are. Half of what you're saying is a cop out, and the other half, the only truth to any of this is there is slight concern about D3 and B12 only in biological females that are still menstruating. And if that is your case, then you do have.
Give me your sources, bud.
Yes, let's do that.
Give me your sources, bud.
I can right now, or you want to
anytime. Send them to me. Send them to me.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see a debate between the two of you.
Because here's the thing: is like I have a huge problem with people saying that that this can be standardized to pretty much everybody, because that's anything in medicine is not true.
I agree with you on the cost issue. That is a huge sticking point. And if you are still menstruating, if you're non-menopausal biological female, there you might have a good argument. Other than that, it's a cop-out. I've been doing it for 10 years now, and I'm 50 pounds overweight, and I get all the iron I need, and I can still take all 6 of you at the same time.
So that's an argument from an anecdote, though, isn't it? Because your body functions in a certain way.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about physiology and mechanisms of iron absorption and B12 absorption?
I might, right? Yes, and I would like to give you some, not just my examples and those of my fellow vegetarians, but I can give you some real world examples about how most of what these like feeling lethargic, I really think, and I think I can back it up with some literature, that well, first off, it's psychosomatic. Most of it is psychosomatic. You are addicted to eating dead animals. Okay, that's you guys took me way down this rabbit hole. I didn't want to
push back. No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna push. No. It's no.
It's too late.
Generalizing psychosomatic is also such a cop out.
Let's don't have this debate here, Ben.
I was like,
Let's do it formally.
I will talk
If you beat me,
physiology
you
with
beat
you,
me,
Jim.
but I will
I will
give you all the information.
I'll talk
I-
physiology.
I feel like y'all need a good moderator, and I would totally watch this.
Yeah. I don't
Do
know
you
if I
think
want to get
you-
into some. I don't know if I want to get into something like this because, because my position isn't that everyone should do something or they shouldn't. Like my position
When
is
have
it should be a personal thing,
Yeah.
and like it should not be standardized. Like anything in medicine, anything in physics, it should not be standardized because people have different body functions, different receptor activity, different metabolism. And you can't standardize something like this. Any diet, no matter what diet, you cannot standardize it.
Pardon me.
In 5 years on Atheist Edge,
Well, I
when
love
have
you,
you
Ben.
ever heard, in 5 years on Atheist Edge, when have you ever heard me on any of my 700 videos say the word should or ought ever?
I haven't.
I believe that Christopher Mowdy is the moderate of all moderators and is really good at that. So I suggest him if ever you have a formalized debate.
Then I guess my question though is like if why are we jumping to accusing people of cop-outs when you're saying you're not trying to give a should or ought argument?
Well, I'm not gonna guess if Kitty still menstruates or not, or if she ever did, or because a lot of times if you work out a lot, if a female gets below 4 or 5, maybe you know this. If you're like bodybuilders and professional athletes get below 4 or 5% body fat, you stop having menstruations too. But if you're still menstruating, that's an issue. But when she was talking about the leafy greens, the robust leafy greens, the iron dense plant protein,
Yeah.
forget cellulose right now. Does it absorb enough? Can you get enough D3 and B12 in your diet without killing animals? Yes, you can. And if our sticking point is cost, then yes, you might have a good point.
And amount of leafy greens that you'd have to consume to get the same amount.
The amount of baby spinach you'd have to eat to equal the same portion of red meat, for instance, right?
Jim, can I ask a question? I'm just curious, and
Yes.
it's going to come across as rude as fuck, and I'm really sorry. I'm just curious. You are, oh my God, there's a word behind me. Okay, I'm just curious. You look very well built, and almost all my vegan friends are very gaunt. How come you were able to maintain that body weight?
This might be kind of in line with the transgender female thing. Like, if you are undergoing HRT later in life and you already built up a lot, maybe I know Ben can answer this. If you've gone your whole life building up a lot of muscle mass as a biological male, then you go to HRT and you get your nanograms of testosterone down to an acceptable level to compete with females professionally. Do you still have the advantages that you had as living your entire adult life, with that testosterone?
According
as
to
a
the
performance?
science, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
Then
Not according to the science.
I'm just curious because
Yeah.
I know some males and females. I'm in California, so there's a lot of vegans running around, and they struggle to keep any body weight. In fact, sometimes they're underweight, and it's a battle.
The only sport I do now is disc golf. And I've been a vegetarian 10 years this June. I don't know. Maybe I just stayed. I had muscles before, and maybe they will go away eventually. I don't know.
So Jim, hold on real quick though. You're a vegetarian. Are you a vegetarian or a vegan?
Correct. And I'm trying to limit my starchy carbs, potatoes, pasta.
Okay, so you do eat some animal products.
Wait, vegetarian? What are you talking about? Name an animal product that vegetarian can eat.
Milk.
Like
animal
milk and
byproducts.
eggs.
Yeah, milk and eggs and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm staying away from cheese just for diet, but yeah.
Okay. So then I would agree with you. Vegetarian.
So really,
vegetarianism is sustainable. Veganism is less sustainable.
I still eat eggs, but it's all oat and almond milk, and I'm trying to limit the cheese. But I just had 2 slices of baby Swiss with my sandwich tonight. So
no, but that changes things because Like vegetarianism is a lot more sustainable
Yeah.
than vegan. Like veganism is where you get into a lot of the health issues for certain
There are
people.
some ethical concerns for lacto-ovo vegetarians. I get a vegan friend who admonishes me for eating cheese, and I can go into why. And I already told you about eggs, but yeah, I still do. So yes, and never once did I ever say vegan. You guys put those words in my mouth.
Oh no, sorry, that could
I
have been
said
my
I could
fault.
never go vegan. I was the one that mentioned
Yeah, like
vegan.
I can do vegetarian, I can't do vegan.
Okay, well, we have come full circle, Grasshopper.
Like, because that changes the conversation.
Yes, it does.
Now,
Yeah,
here's
I've
my
never been a
question for you,
vegan, and I
Jim.
could see people getting real gaunt, like someone just said. Yeah.
If we got to the point where we were making lab-grown meat, so no animals killed, lab-grown meat, would you eat that?
Fuck yes.
I would, yeah.
Because
I would too. Like, if
it's
it
only
was,
for
like,
ethical reasons. I don't want anything to die. I don't want anything being killed unnecessarily.
Well, here's the other question though too. Like thinking about things dying unnecessarily. This is a moral conundrum now, because if we have populations, is it better for nature to kill them off from overpopulation, or is it better for somebody to intervene? Because something's going to kill them. Something's going to kill them.
I love you.
I'm not taking a position on that, but
no. Okay, yeah. Okay, that
I'm just-
argument is
yeah.
kind of a cop out because eventually it will reach a equilibrium, a stasis, to where the natural order thing. If God does exist, the whole circle of life is sadistic as hell. Think about it. Lions going after
It is.
zebras.
Sure,
And whatnot.
but okay.
Yeah.
So how is that statement a cop out? How is that a cop out? You have to explain why it's a cop out before you just label it a cop out.
Here's why. Let's say there's 1 million cows on the planet right now, right? I know there's much more. But
Yeah.
Oh no, let's go even just smaller. Let's say the entire planet there's 100 cows, and there's only like 1,000 people, or I don't know. Let's get it down to smaller numbers. There's 100 cows on the planet, and if everyone went vegetarian, how many bovines would we need? None. So we'd have some in zoos and some as pets. Well, those 100 cows that are alive right now, and then given the ones that are pregnant, and eventually we can't save. They're going to die of old age. We put them out to pasture. But let's say next year, 50% of the population goes vegetarian. Now we've got 100 cows, so 50 are just going to go to waste. They're just going to die naturally of old age, or whatever, euthanasia. It's going to be it's growing pains. Eventually we would get to where we would have exactly the number of bovine we need. So the ones that are alive now, you say, like, how do I say it?
Okay.
I saved 3 cows last year alone. The normal human eats 3 cows a year, right? I think that roughly is the case. But they say, well, those cows are going to be grown and going to be farmed anyway. Why not eat them? But if that's just me, one person making a dent in it. But if 50% of the population, do you see where I'm coming?
That wasn't my argument, though. My argument was if you didn't eat any of them, you left them in the wild. There's a point where you reach a threshold for a resource
If we did not
threshold.
domesticate cows, they would not be alive right now. The cows that we have now would not be able to survive in the wild.
No, they wouldn't.
Now, here, let me.
When there was hold on, real quick.
Kitty was wanting to talk though.
And when there was too much snow, the cows were starving to death because they didn't know how to move the snow to get to the grass, but the horses were fine because they were moving the snow. So what does that tell you?
You're like Kitty talk.
I'm sorry.
So no, it's fine. Changing it away from cows, because cows are something we've domesticated.
Okay.
Here's a hypothetical. Say something happens, like we have an uptick in Lyme disease or something, and it affects the wolf population. Then the deer end up completely exploding because they don't have the natural predators. We're not going to have random new predators, showing up in the area.
Yeah.
So then what? They
What
have
would happen?
hunting licenses for deer specifically for that reason, because they need the population control, because we decimated the wolf population. If it got decimated further, we would need to hunt more deer just to not have them deforest everything.
What would happen to the wolf and the deer in that situation, Kitty, if humans didn't exist? What would eventually occur?
They'd both
They'd
essentially
still
die
compete
out.
for they still compete for resources,
No, the
and
deer
they'd
would
still
eventually
die.
die out too because
Marry
they
me,
would eat all
Dr.
the
Cross.
resources. They'd
Marry
still
eat all the
die.
resources and they would die. Whereas you would
Now
have
that's
an extinction. The deer would go extinct because if their population blew up and the wolves weren't there in either in numbers or at all to control them, they would eat everything. And then the entire species goes extinct.
so you're saying deer would go completely extinct if we weren't there to thin them out, to thin the herd?
Because we decimated the wolf population. Yes.
That's a good
If
point.
humans aren't here to decimate the wolf population, what would happen? Would there be
I'm
a
not
natural
talking about
equilibrium?
hypotheticals of
Go-
humans
But-
not
but Jim,
existing.
here's
I'm
the-
talking
here's the
about in the
thing,
world we
too.
live in now.
But also, you're talking about reaching equilibrium as if it's a neutral thing. Equilibrium involves death. It involves
A lot of death.
reaching a
The
point where there
equilibrium
isn't
would be-
enough. There aren't enough resources to keep the population growing, which
How
means
many,
some of them have to die.
How
Right.
many near extinction level events have there been on planet Earth since it's been around?
A few.
Yeah, and how many of those were caused by food scarcity? Probably half of them, not natural disasters, asteroids, global cooling, whatnot, right? So
Yeah,
it does happen. It gets to a near extinction level event. I'm not, you know what? If we as a human society deem it necessary to have to kill a number of deer just to keep everything in check, I've killed, just my last tour in Iraq, my unit killed 168 terrorist suspects. I do not feel a thing about it. If it hurts me to know I had to take another human life, but ethically, I've got problems with it. But if it must be done, I hate saying for the greater good, but you know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's where I'm at. Sorry.
Just
But
don't eat
we
'em.
have, like, I mean, there's a reason why you get licenses for hunting and why they tell you, okay, you're allowed to bag this many and you're allowed,
Oh,
you
they're
know,
begging to shoot hogs over here and also
yeah.
Florida.
So,
Yeah.
basically wild hogs and deer, they breed, they are a prey species. Prey species breed out of control. And that works for the equilibrium when you have the predator to counterbalance them. But because of human intervention in the world that we have done with deforestation, with industrialization, with hunting, like we hunted wolves near to extinction because they were fucking with cattle farmers. So, I mean, we've already done the damage. And if we were to just say, okay, no one's ever allowed to hunt a deer again, with the way that things are as they are right now, if we did not intervene, eventually the species would grow so much that it would make itself extinct because it would eat out all of the resources. And I'm sorry, I know what it feels like to starve, and I would rather not see an entire species of animal starve to death.
That's a great point. You have a great point. I don't have a counter to that. And
I wanna-
It's like the trolley
Yeah.
problem. It's the trolley problem.
yeah, it totally is a trolley problem.
But I think one
Yeah.
thing that we might all agree with on this panel is that meat reduction could definitely be a thing. It's healthier for you to reduce your meat diet.
Oh,
Generally.
definitely.
And
Definitely.
and it's better for the environment. But also,
And you know what the third biggest contributor to global warming in CO2 emissions and methane emissions
I'm gonna
in
say
the
dairy
atmosphere?
farms.
Bovine flatulence.
But also, I wanted to point out that like the cruelty in some of these big farms needs to be addressed. It does.
Yes, we should
absolutely.
revamp industrial
Absolutely.
farming. It's grotesque. I mean,
Yes.
as somebody
Absolutely.
that gives no fucks about eating animals, like it does not phase me in the least. I do not feel bad because I look at it this way. Human beings are not meant to be vegan. Like, I mean, even vegetarian is a stretch. We have omnivorous teeth. Like our teeth, we are meant to have a balanced diet of meat and plant material. That is just part of us. And so like I have no fucks, but I do not want the animals to suffer. Like you can have ethical, cultivating of animals without it being these grotesque industrial farming situations. So I'm totally on board with, radically altering that. But if we're going to talk about CO2 and climate things, another thing that is terrible for the environment is actually some of the vegan products that are made, because they're made with things like palm oil, which is fucking devastating for the planet. Another thing is fast fashion. Like, a lot of people can't afford to not shop fast fashion, but I think it's the number one or the number two,
Palm
like,
oil is what's
water
killing the
usage.
orangutans.
Yeah, palm oil
Yeah.
is what is leading towards the extinction of the orangutans. And a lot of these products use things that are not sustainable. Like, maybe the individual might be able to sustain their life on these products, but these products are not done in a sustainable way. Very similar to industrial farming, it's just the environment that's suffering instead of animals.
All very good points. Someone in the live chat was talking about fish, how they are technically brain dead. They don't really feel pain in the way that we like, to where it's a receptor to where they suffer. So why not eat fish? And there was a whole pescatarian debate on this live chat. That's a really good point too. When push comes, like if I do go to Ukraine, dude, I'm going to be whatever's available. I'm instantly not going to be whatever is it could be cabbage soup. It could be I'll eat whatever is available over there. So, I mean, Ben was saying, if you make enough money and you have the luxury of supplementing your iron and B12 and B6, then much of the world doesn't have that luxury. And when Kitty, as soon as lab grown meat becomes ubiquitous and cost effective, and I'm not going to should or ought you guys, but I'm definitely going to be on board with that. If the price gets down to regular meat, why not just not
I will say
put a pneumatic jackhammer to cows anymore, or run chickens up into a wood chipper? It just seems...
Yeah, no. I will say like, I'm not the vegetarian vegan on here, but like, when lab grown meat, gets to a point where it is equally, expensive, it is on par with industrial farmed meat products. I would say that, for the environment and for, the fact that it doesn't require the death of another creature, people ought to, or they should, switch to lab grown meat. But again, that's just because it would be, as long as it says sustainable, like, it has to be sustainable, and we should be moving away from industrial farming and industrial livestock raising anyway.
Junie, I love you. 3D printed steak. That's funny.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there's like, currently right now, it's not an option for everybody. Like, as things get better, I would love to see it get to a point where everyone could do it reliably and sustainably and cost effectively. But we're not there. We're not there. We're not even close there yet. So
wouldn't it be great though? Maybe in our lifetime.
Hopefully.
Like, do I think it's a goal worth striving for? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But
Impossible Meat is different from Beyond. Oh, wait. It's Beyond. I forget which one. I think it's Beyond that has the, you know what heme is, like hemoglobin, the heme that they derive from, and they give it that color from the beets, and it looks and tastes just like meat, and it has the heme in it. It's when it cooks on a flame grill, you can't. I would challenge you to even be in a taste test Beyond.
I've had
Impossible Whopper and a regular Whopper.
Yeah. I've eaten them. No, they're good.
They're damn delicious. Yeah. I love them.
I'll take you up on that.
There's pea protein, like the
I
corn,
actually
UORN. There's pea. I tried it. That soy myth. That's a myth. You know how now I've got like B cups, but that's just from eating too much and eating cheese and but there's that myth where eating too much soy, because soy has natural estrogen in it, and it can,
it's a myth.
Affect men.
It's a myth.
You would have to eat literally a wheelbarrow full every day of soy protein to even get that effect. So yeah, that's a myth.
But no, if I'm in Texas, Jim, I'll take you up on that. We'll do a show of it, and you can blindfold me and I will
That would be
try
awesome.
both burgers. Like,
Yeah. Well,
if I'm in
McDonald's and
Texas.
Carl's Jr. has them now too. Now there's Beyond Burgers, there's Impossible Burgers, there's the corn, there's Morningstar Farms. There's a whole. Some are pea protein, some are edamame, which is soy, and then some from beets. It's
But
all
no,
different types of
I will
protein.
be the guinea pig, and I'll let you blindfold me too, and we'll do it
Ooh.
as a
That'd be a
show.
good
I know,
show.
right?
Ooh,
Kinky.
blindfolds.
But and
Is
I
that
will
the next
try your
topic?
meat substitutes. I'll try your meat substitutes blindfolded.
Ooh, I'm done with the veganism vegetarian conflict. Let's talk blindfolds. All
Is Math
right.
Pig in the live chat? He's going to totally take Kitty out of context with a "I'll try your meat blindfolded."
Okay, all right. So blindfolds. What does everyone think about blindfolds?
Good segue.
I love them.
Thank
but
you.
then, I'm primal prey rope bunny, so I am probably in the minority.
I mean, you are in the dungeon right now, looking at your background.
Oh no, this
Yes, Kitty. Most likely
this is
you are.
Morgan. This is
my
Morgan. I named him.
Okay.
Well, no, it's based off of the Celtic deity, the Morgan. She was a trinity goddess.
Oh, that's right.
Of death and
Yep.
war and harvest
Yes, that's right.
/ fertility.
forgot
I just
that
wanted to
was
say
a-
that the stone wall in the background was a dungeon.
No, it's my vampire sorceress's castle.
You can have
her
a dungeon
familiar.
in your castle.
Oh, absolutely, but it doesn't have windows. You don't want the neighbors seeing what I'm getting
That's
up
true.
to in
That's
there.
Morgana was King Arthur's sister, who she tricked him into having sex with her to make Mordred, who eventually killed King Arthur.
Mm-hmm. The Arthurian legend is fascinating. One of the fun stories about the Morrigan is she had the hots for Cuchulainn, who was basically Celtic Heracles. And he spurned her, not knowing who she was, and it didn't end well for him. First, she killed his horse, then his best friend, and then him. And right before he died, he realized, oh, I fucked up. You're the Morrigan. Oops.
Oh shit!
Uh-oh. Oh, snap, Dr. Cross. More information. I'm keeping a catalog, just so you know.
Okay, well,
I asked
in
her
the
to
book
marry
of
me,
Bob,
and she said she's just turning down a marriage, so I would have to wait in line, and I'm just happy to tell you guys I'm number 2.
So,
Ox is right. Palm oil is
Almost got
not
her.
the thing. It's the fact that they're clearing the palm areas. That's what's hurting the primates. That's
is
true.
that a hot dog?
Right?
I need a hot dog.
Told
now.
you guys were talking about hot dogs, and I was like,
I got some
I want
hot
a
dogs.
dog. I don't know why I want a hot dog.
Do you want me
but
to tell you what's in that hot dog?
No, I don't. And then Susan says you can't do that on television. Absolutely. I don't know.
I mean, it's animal parts and chemicals, but
Yeah, but the
that's
number 2 is not as good as me. You should just move me
I
forward.
eat a lot of things that are animal parts and chemicals. So,
Except I'm bad. I really interrupt people a lot, and it pisses people off, including my ex. She doesn't like that, but I do it. Gotta either
It's
love
kind
me
of
or
an
not.
ADHD thing, though. Like,
I know.
I mean,
Thank you. People don't understand. Like they don't fucking get it.
I haven't been formally diagnosed, but after having long, like, heartfelt conversations with others, like I've been suspecting for a while that I might have ADHD, and there are just certain little, like, things, like quirks or things that I have that they're like, no, it sounds like you're in the club, and that's one of them. Or the one that I think I'm the most guilty of is when someone is telling me something like one of their problems or something. I volunteer, something that I have gone through, like, as a way of, like, commiserating, like, saying I understand, I can relate. But, like, that's apparently something that a lot of ADHD people do, and not everybody likes it because they think you're trying to turn it to about you, and it's like, no, it's not about that. It's about I've been there. Like, I get it. I know, like, commiserate, like, we're here. We get, like, I get it, but that's something I've been working on for a while. And I try to stop myself when I go to do it because it's really just me trying to show empathy of, like, I understand, but it doesn't always come across that way.
Really quick, is Susan Divine Disbelief, or is that a
Yes.
different Susan? Oh, hey,
Yes.
I know you.
And her partner, Nathaniel.
Nathaniel,
And
yeah.
yeah, he and I had a falling out a couple of years ago before the pandemic. I would love to say that I took part in building the community because he reached out to me and we buried the hatchet. We cleared the air and everything's good between us now. Same with Steve McRae. Say what you will about him, but at least I know the air is
Pardon
clear.
me.
At least
Pardon me.
I know. I know a lot of people. It's not your taste, but we cleared the air at least, and it's about building the community. And for every few people that I can build those bridges again with, it's a good thing. So I'm glad that Nathaniel and Steve and I are on great terms again.
Maybe you can build a bridge with Silverman too.
Oh, that's a bridge too far. Keep the pun going. That
thank
and Jim
God.
Majors. If
Thank
you guys,
God you have a limit. I was trying to figure out where that limit was.
my limit's at Silverman and Jim Majors. It's some things are just, yeah, there's a line. There's still a line, and that's my subjective personal view. What they've done. They've done so irreparable damage.
Oh, good. Right. Oh, I'm glad to hear that because I was starting to wonder. No offense to you. If I
I
like
won't
you,
have
if that makes
Silverman
sense.
on my show. I did have when all that shit was going on. He was booked on my show. It just turned out, and I got a call from Matt Dillahunty, and I had to pull over inside the road. I was like, I'm taking this call, and he told me exactly. See, sometimes I'm naive. I didn't know what was going on, and he locked me on, so I canceled the show. And then I don't know if you remember, but he sent this pretty popular tweet and just denouncing me for canceling him and that I'm part of cancel culture. No, really, it was my personal choice. It's my platform. I can have you on or not, and my reasons are my own.
I don't think
Yeah.
you're cancel culture at all. There's nothing
No.
about you that's that.
No.
SR, I sent you a link. Come in. Come join us. You missed the veganism discussion / vegetarianism discussion, which we're not going back to. Not tonight. Not tonight. Different night.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't familiar, the Jim Majors thing, that was just terrible. I'm not a drama merchant. We'll
I
save
think
that
most
for.
of us didn't see all that coming, and that
Ooh,
was a lot to process. And
terrible.
I was triggered as fuck. And people go, "Well, you didn't say a whole lot about it, Deidre," because I say a whole lot about one of your friends. And but the reason why is because it's a fucking trigger for me. Like I read the thing and I was like, I am gonna lose my shit. Like I that's why I was really quiet about it. And I
It was
said a
so
couple things and
heartbreaking.
that's it.
It was heartbreaking because we were such great friends, and I cannot say what you will. Like, I don't know. Like, we're content creators. It doesn't matter if you have 1,000 subs or 500,000 subs. You're out there in the public, and so people are expecting you. You're setting the example for a X amount of the population. So whatever you do, if I had Silverman or Majors on my show right now, I just feel like I'm condoning their behavior.
Yeah, there's some things that like I just feel like you lose your right to be a public speaker if you do, if that makes sense. And so when somebody was defending Jim on Twitter, and I was like, this is really rich. I think it was an ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend. And I know that ex-girlfriends and current victims or current girlfriends can be victims of people that are gaslighting and they can be followed to the line of rhetoric and all that stuff. So you have to extend grace and courtesy there, I think, to some degree. At the same time, I think it was your cancel culture. Look what you did. You are critical thinkers. You don't know how to read a court document. And I was looking at it going, there's no way to spin this in a good way. There is absolutely no way to spin this in a good way.
Here's a big if. If someone like Jim Majors were truly, sincerely remorseful for all the actions he had done in the past, and it's going to take, it might take his whole life to take steps to redeem himself. that would be a different story.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I think everyone, if you don't have redemption as an option, you're not a human. Yeah,
You could have
everyone
redemption as
needs
an
to be afforded the
option,
chance to redeem themselves.
but I
I
don't think
mean,
I want to platform a rapist, and I don't think I want to platform a child abuser, and I don't think I want to platform like I mean I have a whole list of people that like I think like yeah redemption good. I still don't want you to be a talking head that I support.
Even if they
and
were truly remorseful
Nope,
and were
they can suck
taking
a dick.
active steps to redeem
I feel
themselves.
that way about pastors too. Do you know how many pastors go through after
Yeah,
they abuse
yeah,
a kid or whatever, and then they prop them up again? They go, well, you
yeah,
know, he was truly remorseful, and they prop him back up again. Nah,
yeah. True. That's a good point.
I mean, but honestly, you have to be remorseful. Like if you're going around and you are doing, apologetics saying that, oh, this sexual assault was consensual, actually, or if you're going around and endorsing and condoning someone spreading false essay allegations against somebody, like, and then all you do is just yell and scream about how you're a victim and compare you being called out for bad things you've done to being a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault. I'm sorry, but you're kind of a scumbag.
That's a good point, and that is totally your choice to have. What if I had? Oh, I did have Steve McRae on my channel. You guys, I'm sure some of you have a problem with that, and would that be enough for you to say I'm gonna unsubscribe from Atheist Edge, or I'm gonna
it's
by
enough
For
for
me
me to
proxy, then
say
I'm a bad
it's
person.
it's enough for me to say that you lack something in your integrity, but it doesn't mean that I think the whole of you is bad. Does that make sense? It's enough
Yeah,
for me. That's my hot take. Everybody else can
yeah,
have their own hot take.
yeah.
for me, it's more I think that, like, I still consider you my friend, Jim, and I didn't watch that episode, and I have friends that have either been on with people that I disagreed with, or they've, done things with people that I disagree with. I just don't tune in for that because I am not going to go around and say you cannot, be friends with this person, you cannot talk to this person. It
Yeah.
is not, I'm not fucking you or paying your bills. It's not my place to have any input on that whatsoever. However, as a friend, I can say that, I do feel that there does seem to be this more willingness to turn a blind eye and not really fully engage with like an action someone has done. And I don't think that it's intentionally done. I think it's just more of that boys club thing of, well, this is my friend, and they're a good guy, and so you don't want to see the worst parts of somebody that you consider to be a friend unless it, really smacks you in the face, like with the Jim Majors thing, where there's like he was convicted. Like, I mean, there's no arguing your way out of that. And when I brought it up to you about Nathaniel's video, you were swift and prompt with, your reaction to that. And I applaud you for it. And I think you did the right thing there. Personally, I think it was a mistake to platform Steve, but again, it's your business
Well,
and you
don't.
can do whatever you want to
Yeah.
do. I just think that he has done enough damage to people in the community that he hasn't shown any remorse. He hasn't shown any growth. Just the other day, he was saying, I'm a victim. Would you treat victims of domestic violence and rape this way? Now, as
Yeah.
someone who is a living survivor of both of those things, that bothers me because he's being criticized for his actions, but he wants to throw up a flak wall of, I'm a victim, just like someone who has been assaulted. And I'm sorry, like that really bothers me on a visceral level. And it's triggering to see someone try to use my pain and my experience to deflect from criticisms that, are rightfully due.
Can I make a suggestion to lighten
Yes.
this up really soon? Like really soon?
Well, I might be able to help just a little if we're okay with slightly changing the focus. So I forget I forget the guy's name, and I really should remember it. But they did just recently make a movie about it, The Black Klansman, about the guy who years ago started joining KKK groups as a black man himself, and like ultimately ended up getting like a good few of them to disband. I know of another person. Her name is Miriam Namazi, and she is a very vocal atheist, and has done a lot of really great things. But one of the things that she did was actively sought out, Nazi groups and hate mongering and these terrible groups like this. And I don't necessarily know that either of their intentions were to disband the organizations so much as communicate with people that they knew they vehemently disagreed with in a way to hopefully open some channels of dialogue and maybe get them to see another side. Do you think those people are in the wrong to try to do that, or do you think there's because they kind of had this effect at the end that it kind of makes up for it? I don't know if that lightens the mood that much or not, but it was something
I can
that
lighten
kinda
the mood a
struck
little
me.
bit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go.
so I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm going to bring it up again because I'm gonna open the second one. So I have this nitro peepus.
Why is it nitro?
But I drank this one earlier and it was decent. But I got the other one because they have vanilla nitro peepus.
What is the advantage of making a peepus nitro?
Well, that was my question. So I bought them. and it's interesting because like in some ways it's awesome and in some ways it's not awesome, because I mean one of the reasons why I would drink a soda is because it's very heavily carbonated. And now what you're doing with this is it's like the bubbles are really small, and so
What's it called again?
Nitro Pepsi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pepsi. Yeah.
And so it can come across as a little bit flat, which I mean I guess maybe that's a little bit of the point, but you give it the texture and consistency of like a dark beer, and it's kind of interesting.
That was why I asked. I have a few cans not very far from me that are all nitro, but the reason that they're nitro is because they're like an 11% fucking imperial stout or something. And like the whole point of that is to give it that kind of tap feel where it does release the carbonation so that you don't fill up on the carbonation and you don't burping and gas and whatever.
But this essentially makes it taste like there's cream in it, even though there isn't any.
Would cream in a Pepsi be good?
It's almost ice creamy in a way.
Oh, like a root beer float, but
kinda, yeah. That's kind of the vibes I get from it.
So Coke came out with like a Starlight flavor, and apparently
It's so good.
It tastes of space.
It's so good.
What?
It's so good.
Like, but here's the thing, like Matt Pat, like I'm addicted to his 3 channels. Well, technically he has 4, but I don't watch GT Live. But he's got Game Theorists, which was the first one, then Film Theorists, and then now Food Theory. And on the Food Theory, he did the whole like sandwich thing and everything, but he just covered the Coke Starlight or whatever. And he said, technically based on like what we know of space, there is actually a chemical that space would supposedly taste like, and that is actually like the notes that people give from this. They use that chemical in the flavor profile.
Well, that's cool.
Definitely check it out. Like I said, it's
tasty.
Food Theorist, and I want to try it. I have not picked one up yet. Like,
it reminds me of like cinnamon and vanilla.
Cinnamon, vanilla, and like marshmallow. Like, what people have said. It's basically like a campfire with cinnamon and vanilla and marshmallow.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I will say, Kitty, not that this means it is true, but I do remember reading an article about that not terribly long ago, where it was like, hey, like we measured a lot of the chemical signatures and we put them together and we kind of figured out this is probably what it smells like and this is probably what it tastes like. I don't remember what the things were because I was really laughing because I would love to taste space. That'd be great.
Taste
It looks
space.
like
What
a
does that
beer.
mean?
It
What does
looks
that
like a
mean?
beer. Look at that. Look at that. It looks like a beer.
I want to taste the vacuum.
This is Pepsi.
It does
This
look
is
like a beer.
It looks like a
Richard,
beer.
Wait, Richard, welcome, peace
I
and
agree.
respect to you because I beat you to it. Haha. And also, I have to tell you, we play this game in the Dragoon server where we guess the YouTuber and we have a little square of the YouTuber and someone put up your beard. I think it was Spooky. And it was just this tiny little square of your beard. And like, who is this? And I was like, Richard Madsen. And they're like, how would you know that? I was like, because I'd know that beard anywhere.
It's a specific
Holy fuck,
beard.
you
It truly
guys.
is. How are you, brother?
This
I
is
put the
magical.
link in the side chat. I don't have a spanner, so I can't link it to the live chat. But in the private chat, I put the link for the video where he talks about Starlight.
This is magical. This is worth your time. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wow, it really does taste like that weird cook. But come on, Hellbound Hillbilly. If that happened, I mean, how fucking excited would you be, right?
Of course it was spooky. Has to be. It's true.
It's a specific beard. It's not the Geek Room guy's beard. Like, he's got a specific beard.
It does
And
look
it helps
warm.
being old, like not a whole bunch of old people on YouTube with a beard.
Kitty, what's
Case
that
in
link for you
point,
said?
here's a conundrum. Tomorrow night at my Atheist and Christian Book Club, guess who our special guest is? Dr. Robert Price. And just now, and while you guys were talking, I'm looking on my on a social media platform, little group chat of atheist content creators saying, "What's this new thing with Robert Price being racist?" Now, a conundrum is: do I talk to the people who are running this gig and let them know?
I mean,
Now, I know Robert
personally
Price has always been a
say-
Trump supporter, conservative.
As soon as you confirm
atheist.
he is a racist, yeah. As soon
Yeah,
as you confirm that, yeah.
You can't go and say you can't have this person here, but I do think that we have a duty to report when something toxic or problematic comes to light. I feel like we should tell the people, that may host them. I mean, it's up to them to do with that information what they will, but I do feel we have a duty to report, otherwise we're sweeping it under the rug and we're allowing the toxicity to continue.
And
I
also,
like
Jim, you have to
secular
remember that if you go on a stream with him, you might just say something about it because I know you. So
like
you want to make
secular
sure that
rarity's
they're
take on
on the same page and you're not surprising the people in charge, is what my point is.
Secular rarity, I kind of like your take on it because sunlight is a great disinfectant. You guys can agree with that? Like sometimes, as long as you're hitting them hard with the hard questions, would you guys just totally admonish me if I had Silverman on my show? Actually, not that I'm planning to, but if I hit him with the hard questions, like what the fuck are you doing, man?
I think that was exactly the question that was bouncing around my head, man.
Exactly.
The whole concept of like Frost Nixon interviews. from a
Okay,
long time.
I have
Go ahead, go ahead.
thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead.
If it is a hard-hitting interview where you don't allow them to weasel out of it, then okay. But if you're going to let them just, word vomit like any propaganda or gross shit or just completely avoid talking about anything, like when you see some like fucking news hosts, they'll have someone on for an interview and they will ask them all softball questions when it's like this person like was just accused of SA or whatever, and it's like they completely ignore it because they're a celebrity or whatever, or they ask them a softball and that's it. Like, or they will allow someone on and then they just spew, like someone interviewed Richard Spencer and he was able to just talk about all his fucking Nazi propaganda bullshit without anyone counterpointing it or challenging him in any way. He was basically just given an even larger platform. That's where I do believe that drawing attention to toxic stuff is good, but it has to be done delicately, because otherwise you risk literally giving them a larger platform to spew their ideology and could thus convert more people to their way of thinking. So it's like, don't ban Nazis from college campuses, but allow peaceful counter protests at the same time, where, you know, they're counterpointing anything negative or incorrect that, you know, the Nazi is spewing, you know?
So what would you say to somebody who, like a specific example, but I'm not going to name any names, but there is a ex-Muslim atheist secular humanist speaker who is you know, decently prominent on
Hasid?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
But he one of the things that he did specifically, and he made a video before this debate, and he said, my goal with this Muslim apologist, this scholar of Islamic studies, is to back him into a corner during the debate where he is forced to say some of the terrible things that he says on a huge platform. So basically, this particular Muslim apologist believes some incredibly atrocious things, in my opinion. And one of the things that he has said repeatedly, but had never said in public, was that he did believe that homosexuals should be killed.
Right. There's a point to that, though.
And
Why
during
you
this debate, the ex-Muslim individual specifically did not push back so much as he did push him into that corner, so that he said, yes, I do believe this terrible thing is the right thing to do. Where do you feel like that falls on the line?
I do like the idea of giving someone enough rope to hang themselves with, so to speak.
Yeah.
But again, like, you run into that if they are well trained in apologetics, if they are good at public speaking, they may never actually, they'll dance around it and they might tiptoe up to the line but not cross it, and then you've let them continue.
Get to dog whistle the whole time.
Exactly. Dog whistling
It's
the
an
entire
interesting
time.
point.
They never go over that line where you can then sound clip it of they believe in putting gays to death, you know, and you've increased their reach, because they might only have, say, 10,000 followers online and you've got 10 million. Well, now you have essentially spread that out into the ether. It's like the biggest issue I have with Joe Rogan is he never really pushes back on any of his guests. He, you know, has these, like, you know, just buddy conversations, which is all well and good, but with a platform comes responsibility to your audience. And he's essentially become Goop for men.
Oh
like,
my God! Don't get me started on fucking. Oh my
That's
God!
brilliant. I never
Yes,
even thought
yes,
of that.
yeah.
That's
Beautiful analogy, but oh my God!
I do
yes.
think I do
he is
think
Goop for
that
men.
I think there's an art to exposing people for who they are. So, for instance, there was one person that was posing as a moderate Christian, and I knew they weren't. They had all the dog whistles, and I knew they weren't. And so I was just like, I started asking questions, and by the end of the night, he was basically Steven Anderson. And I thought, well, I'm going to expose this guy of who he is, because people kept thinking, oh, this guy's moderate, and he's not. He's just polite, and that's not the same thing. He's polite while he'll have you stoned to death, kind of thing,
Well, and I
different.
think that's something like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't want to speak for anybody here, but I do feel pretty confident that nobody here on this panel would say that anybody deserves to be killed or jailed simply for an ideology.
Of
But
course.
it's a matter of the nuances between where is it supporting a shit toxic ideology, or where is that line between platforming somebody or combating what they have, because we can't fix problematic ideas that are in the dark, right? If we don't know about what the fuck is going on, we'll never be able to figure out a solution to it. But we can't in the meantime make it seem like, I think even the appearance of promotion of those toxic ideologies is problematic. But where exactly that shakes out sometimes, I think is tough. And I don't know that I don't know that we only have one chance, right? I think how do you know if somebody's remorseful? How do you know if somebody really wants to do better, right? It's just
Yeah, no, I mean, with exposing that, it's a gray area and it's a case by case basis. I would say, depending on, how skilled the person interviewing them is at backing them into said corner, how much pushback they're willing to give, and, whether they're going to actually like do any fact checking or not. Like, it is a very gray area, and I don't want to paint with a super broad brush because, again, you're right. You can't fight
Yeah.
ideologies that are underground. You can't fight them if you don't
But
know about them. But you don't want to
can I
expand it either.
can I play devil's advocate in the sense that I understand the whole it reminds me of Hitchens. I don't want to have a debate, or Dawkins. I don't want to have a debate with people that are anti-evolution because it's going to make them think that they're worthy of debating me, and it gives them a platform and they make that argument. But those people still bubble up and believe what they're going to believe, despite whether or not Dawkins is going to debate them or not. Like, they're just going to bubble up. So, I mean, I think that there is a place for having these things brought to light and shining a light on it. And the other thing is these extremists are posing as moderates because they're nice and polite. And then when you expose them, it turns out that they are not moderate at all. So I don't know.
It's a gray area. It's a very delicate thing. It's not a one size fits all thing. Like, you can't standardize your response to it. It has to be case by case because there is a lot of nuance. And I mean, places online like Twitter are where fucking nuance goes to die. Like, it's very hard to have nuanced discussions online, especially on Twitter, but in other places too. And again, like, it is a very fine line between, pushback and platforming. And you don't want to expand a bad toxic ideology's reach to more people, and can you find examples of them doing these garbage or saying these garbage things, and then you point to those examples rather than platforming them, and you can then show, hey, look here, like, this person is, Steven Anderson calling for the death of all queer people. Like, you can point to that without platforming him, and that would be like the best case scenario. You're not expanding their reach and you're showing them for the monsters they are. But that's not going to work for everybody because not everybody leaves a paper trail, so to speak.
Yeah, there is that sensationalism. Like, for instance, there'll be like a debate. There's a certain debate channel that had Nazis on, basically, or race realists, Nazis light. And I'm thinking, do we really need them? Because, like, there's such a minority like group where, like, I feel like there's some other fish to fry that are more of a majority group.
Okay, but so maybe I don't know the exact numbers, but, like, for instance, I do know that it's probably a cult of Scientology is not a lot of individuals. The numbers of people that actually make up what is the official membership roll is actually fairly small. But their bank accounts, they got a lot of fucking money. So this is also something that has come to light, fortunately, unfortunately, however anybody feels about blockchain and NFTs and so forth. Apparently, one of the groups of people making shit tons of money on that are neo-Nazis. And that is weird to me because I guess, like, we all kind of knew that criminals and bad people were going to do stuff with blockchain and stuff, but apparently they got a lot of money. So what do you do with a small organization that has the ability to have outside power or influence because they have a shit ton of money? Does that outweigh the simple numbers factor of it, or is that not in the ballpark here? I guess, does any of that make sense, or is this just...
No, I mean, it makes sense, and it would go into the calculus of, I mean, overall, we want harm reduction. Like, that's basically my strategy, in a nutshell, for most things. I mean, like, we want harm reduction. So maximize exposure of toxic ideologies while minimizing the reach they might have to a new audience. Same thing would go with that. You want to maximize the good you can do while minimizing the harm they can do. And again, it would have to be on a very individualistic case by case basis, because there
It
is no
seems like
one
a
size
good
fits
time.
all.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Seems like a good time for a summary. Okay, so let him know up front what you're going to do, that you are going to nail him to a wall, and do at least three 1-hour shows.
That's a lot. Yeah. I mean,
Why
I can see
3
the
separate shows.
Because people
Give you a chance.
learn things over time.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting, and that
You
kind
won't
of
be able to hold charade. That's the word. He won't be able to hold it up forever, right? I mean, even with breaks.
Yeah, you break them down. That's true. They do break down over time. If you've ever been in a heated debate, I used to be in, these religious debate groups back and forth, and even Christian, when it was a little more heated, I would usually either find myself in an argument with an anti-theist because I'm not an atheist, or I'd be in an argument with a fundamentalist Christian, and they're both as equally fiery. And I found that fundamentalist Christians oftentimes break down over time. The nice veneer starts going off over time, even if you're not like even if you're really polite the whole time, as long as if you keep pressing them, it gets really fierce really quickly, and their veneer just kind of fades off. And you are absolutely right. It wears off over time. It is kind of interesting.
If these white nationalists, if we could somehow compel them to take a 23andMe test, I think that would go so far.
No, because a lot of them don't believe in science.
Yeah, I wish, but
They don't
right,
believe in
there's
science. Like
Yeah.
they won't get vaccinated. They don't believe in germ theory. Like they don't believe in science.
How many of them have done maybe a YouTube episode where they think that they're pure or whatever that means, and then
I'm sure there's
they've taken the test, and on camera they've gone, "Oh wow, okay."
But Kitty brings up a good point. There does seem to be an obvious overlap between all of these very disparate yet problematic and clearly bullshit conspiracy theories and stuff. It is very clear from a lot of different things now, a lot of different surveys and stuff that shows that if you really do think there's a global conspiracy to lie to you about the shape of the earth, you are more likely to be believing that there's like microchips in various medicines and so
And that
forth.
5G causes COVID.
And that there's like a group of
introduce you to someone.
Oh no. I mean, I'm okay for the moment. I got my schedule is just full.
My Wi-Fi, my neighbors, I guess if you live within 5 houses of me, my Wi-Fi is SARS-CoV-2 5G tower.
That's great.
I love that. I love that.
There was at least one person that logged on like right before they were going to go look up some porn and turned on their Wi-Fi, and they saw that and they stopped those activities that night. And I think that's funny that it affected them that much. Like I don't know who that person
Cock
is
blocking some rando
because of a
You know
joke
that.
like that.
No, you know that did any of you watch that Doctor Who episode where like it was the weird Wi-Fi name and stuff that would like did any of you watch Doctor Who?
Which
I haven't
version
watched
of
since
is
David
it one of the
Tennant
newer ones?
left.
It was one of the newer ones because I remember when the episode came out. I think it was season 7. I don't remember. But yeah, that was like something about the internet, possessing people, weird stuff. So there's this Wi-Fi name, and somebody changed their Wi-Fi to be that. And I'm sure anyone that watched Doctor Who was terrified. I was terrified of them, but I don't think anyone else got it.
Was it a Cyberman plot?
No, I don't think it was a Cyberman plot.
Delete.
I don't think it was.
Delete.
Oh, you guys, if you don't do it, just change it to something just for shits and gigs. Like I don't know, chemtrail FBI surveillance van 5 just to mess with your neighbors.
At work many years ago, I was speaking with the IT guy at the time, and I was just like, just a random chat, and then I said something about like, hey man, I think where my office is, like the Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty or something, and he's like, oh yeah, well I mean we got like 10 people doing shit, man. Hey, you should join this Wi-Fi, and I was like, oh, which one? And he pointed out one that said loading can't connect. It said loading ... can't connect. And he was like, yeah, we actually have always had this lower gigahertz Wi-Fi that nobody uses because I named it this a long time ago.
That's brilliant.
And I
That's
got
brilliant.
the
Fantastic.
password, and then that guy left, and like years later, somebody was just like, oh my God, the Wi-Fi, I don't know what's going on. I was like, I don't know, my strength is fine. And I never remembered why until, I moved offices and that person was gone. But anyway, it's another great name, just.
There's the thing for the. I'm at this trucker's mini mart trying to find the mechanic. And
The trucker game started. Uh-oh.
Shh, it's fine.
Real quick, Beck, my dude, you asked what that link was. It's for the YouTube video to Food Theory where he's talking about why the Coke Starlight actually would technically, based on what we know, taste of space.
Okay.
Try it.
It's a great
I will probably never watch that, but thank you for letting me know.
It's
I
hilarious.
I lost track of when you put it in there in the conversation, so I wasn't sure what was going on.
There's some
no, that's
science-minded
fine.
people in here. I'm in a running debate with my oldest daughter. I said that when a storm front is coming in, a dark wall cloud's coming in and the wind starts changing and everything's starting to get cooler, and then that smell in the air, and everyone says it smells like rain, but what really is that smell? And I looked it up, and it's lightning strikes causing ozone. It's taking the O2 and making it O3 or whatever. It's creating ozone, and it smells like something resembling the inside of a hospital. It's creating ozone in the air, and that's that smell you smell. And my daughter, she's a horticulturist, and she says no, plants, when they know it's going to rain, and they give off that scent.
I think there is some plant scent going on too, but I think the main thing that we're noticing, it's like if you go into a room or a house that has like 14 of those like air filtration systems, like the moment you step in, you recognize there's a different feel in the air as well that plays a part in it. And I think that is, but I think there is some tree and like plant stuff going on too, like pollen at the end of the day. Yeah, pollen at the end of the day is tree sex, basically. So
someone in the live chat said
that's what my husband points out. He's like, "There's tree sperm all over my car." I'm like,
kind of
really?
true.
You have to yell that?
It's kind of true though. I mean, those trees could at least aim a little bit better. Right? That's all I'm saying. Right. I do it. A lot of other people do it.
I did not consent to be bukkakied on by the great oak thing.
That's right.
Can someone clip that?
Now,
I need that clipped out.
I will say though.
And the great oak.
Have you seen a nice maple? A nice maple in springtime? Ooh.
I am
Is Math Pig still in the live
sakura
chat?
Myself, like cherry blossoms when they just rain down.
I think he went to bed.
In
the
the
dogwoods
spring.
are nice. Those have some. It just depends on.
Someone needs to take Kitty's clip right there and give it to Math Pig.
Oh God, he'll run with that.
Oh, definitely. I'm making my truck super sexy right now.
I'm playing Final Fantasy 15, so like we're gaming buddies.
Well,
different games, but whatever.
Well, because they added a new truck to the game. I don't know if you saw it for ATS. They added that international, and it's sexy.
The train
it's
front.
So sexy.
The train front.
Yeah, it is a sexy truck.
I got the long nose though.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the longest one. They have one without the huge sleeper, so it can fit a
little sleeper
mid-sized chassis. So I got that one. Not the long one.
I always go day
cab. It's great.
Because we don't take breaks anyways.
They have the day cab too. You can get the day cab one.
I just get day cabs of everything. And they're easier to turn. Your turn radius is better.
They are, but this one's so sexy. I think this is sexier than the day cab.
So earlier, Ben, you were saying that you were playing the game and you had to go find the mechanic. Are you saying that in this truck simulator game, one of the things that ultimately happens every so often is like you show up at a fucking shop and you're like, you walk into the garage and you're like, hey, is it anybody here? And then like you have to walk around to find the mechanic. Like I would be pissed. I'd be
Oh
like,
no, I just couldn't find it in the parking lot because it was connected to the gas
couldn't
station.
find the okay. It's just like a spot you pull into. I was thinking like you got out of your truck and like walked around for a
Oh
second.
no, I just ooh.
There's a little
It's a-
sign on
it's a
lunch. Be
big
back
green
in a half
wrench.
hour.
You gotta be fucking kidding me, man.
It's a big
Doors
green.
locked.
It's a big green double-ended wrench.
Wrench,
open-end
yeah.
Okay, that makes
That
that
just
makes a lot.
spins in
Yeah.
the air, but sometimes they'll put it like around the corner in the back for some reason. You're like, where the fuck's the wrench? You gotta
That
fix
makes
my
a lot.
truck. Somebody hit me.
Jim, do you game at all?
I was addicted to World of Warcraft. I was a hardcore raid gamer for 4 years on a server leading raiding guild. And
Oh snap.
yeah,
Me
I was the
too,
lead. I was the
actually.
lead rogue, so I was the class leader, and all the other rogues had to answer to me. And it was literally a second job.
I was on a
So,
raid team in Lord of the Rings Online because I was too poor for WoW.
I was on
it was too
Skullcrusher.
much, and I've got disc golf right now. It's always something. It's competitive fighting, chess, something. Now it's disc golf. Whatever I get into, my girls my whole family just cannot stand. You know,
They're like, okay, calm
whatever
down.
I do, I just sink in like a pit bull, right? And so I know my addictive personality. So now the only games I do are ones where I can just play for 15 minutes and hit pause. There is, and walk away. So now it's just Civilization 6 and Diablo 3.
Oh, Civ 6 is fun.
Yep.
I once heard something like once a Marine, always a. I don't know. Somebody else finish it.
Marine. Arrah! Don't get me started.
Semper Fi, motherfuckers.
Arrah.
Richard,
right.
were
I
you
felt like
Marine
that
or-
Don't tread
wasn't-
on me.
I can't
Don't tread
remember.
on me.
Don't
Don't tread on me.
don't give me a boner.
So "Don't Tread on Me" turned into I'm a white guy afraid of everything, unfortunately. It used to be a perfectly fine logo until that happened.
There's a couple of people, I don't know them
Wow.
personally, but I've seen their trucks who drive around my area of this great nation, and they fly that flag, and it's very bright yellow. And I
It
think
used
to
to be a cool
myself,
flag, and then
It
it became
did.
something else.
well, it had a meaning at one point, but
Well,
I
the-
see that
the-
flag and I instantly know, like, oh, okay, like
The
Now it's like
Confederate
the
You're one of
libertarian
those.
anthem.
That Confederate
Yeah.
flag you see, that's the Virginia battle flag of the Confederacy. The
he's
actual
Italian.
Yeah.
the actual flag of the Confederacy is white with a little red on it. They don't even know which flag they're flying.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're dumb.
There was a few of them.
It's all
So
about the symbol, Jim.
I'm playing
Well-
Final Fantasy 15, and
Symbolism.
in it, it's kind of cool because it's a mix of like technology and like magic, and like I have a truck. It starts out as a car, but then you can upgrade it to go off-road, which of course I did. And so I can like drive around, and like there's cell phones and stuff and like airships and everything, but then there's also like magic and mythical creatures and stuff. And so like I'm actually having a fucking blast playing this game. I got it on a Steam sale for cheap for the sale that just happened this month.
Nice.
And I
Look at-
can run
look at-
around on a
look at this.
chocobo. They're so cute. Chocobo. I want a pet chocobo.
Look at how sexy this is.
All right, it's not that kind of a truck. Like think like fucking monster truck, like lifted, like big ass
Dude,
tires.
that is
This
not
is-
a train front. That's not what I was talking about.
No, the other one was the one that I didn't buy.
That's an old style. Yeah.
This one,
which is really
this
cool,
one's
by the way.
sexy.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at the dragon on the side.
Yeah.
Also,
see it.
I don't know if you can.
Also.
I don't know if I can show you, but if you can see
Whoa,
the license
dragon
plate
on
in the
the
front,
side.
yeah, there's a dragon.
it say?
But it says Ben the Ho on the.
Wait,
Oh, we
but
did it.
are you a hoe? Are you a
I
hoe?
get it.
Ben is a
Well, I
hoe.
think it's
Do I
a-
need to show you guys the video?
I think there's two meanings to it. I think it's like Ben, our friend Ben, the hoe, but then like bend a hoe. You know, like I think I think it
Oh.
works on multiple levels. You know, I'm
It's
impressed.
from a
This is
video.
layered.
It's from a video.
I don't see medical students getting tons of ass. I bet you're in a total drought.
Probably
What
not.
hospitals you go to?
Wait, we're not supposed to. Oh, okay.
You're
It looks
probably
absolutely
up
exhausting.
18 hours a day. And
Hey,
you might
I
get 4
live at
hours of
this
sleep at
hospital.
night.
Which hospital do you live at? Yeah, that's
I
more
bet
like
you get no more than 4 hours of sleep a night.
I really thought Grey's
No, I
Anatomy
actually
was
sleep
documentary.
decently well right
No,
now.
he
Is it
sleeps
not?
fine now. He's not in residency yet. Then he won't sleep at all.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not hating my
no.
life quite yet.
Yeah.
You will soon.
God,
though.
it gets
Congrats,
worse.
man.
Oh,
I know.
shit.
It's all right. He's
Because
got
the
it.
fun
You'll-
part
you'll
is
fucking
here's
get that.
the extra fun part, and 3 of you will understand how awful this is going to be. But not only will I be doing a residency, but it will be an active duty Army residency.
Oh, wrong one.
Oh, since you're a
Lucky
reservist,
you.
they're paying for your medical school?
Oh man.
Well, yeah, but I'll be active when I do residency.
And you
I'll
have
be
to give them 4
active
years
duty.
active, don't you?
Hello,
I
my
technically
queen.
I owe them 4 years active, but residency is more than likely, like 99% likely, to also be active. So I'm really giving them 7.
Ben, I'll see you over at the Polish border. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
That's hardcore.
They
That's
can't
awesome,
deploy
Ben.
me for.
And
They can't
no
deploy me
student
until
debt.
after residency.
No student
Yeah,
debt.
I have a little bit. But because I was a
Oh,
late
that's
commission,
awesome. That's awesome.
but
Med school's expensive. Like,
A little bit.
so
It's still a lot,
you know.
but a fraction of what
So,
it could be.
in
That's
my
the
school, I'm at a private DO school, so that's like even worse. My tuition is $73,000 a year,
Jesus Christ.
That's actually
and that's
not
just
bad,
tu-
I don't
That's
think.
just tuition. That's not anything else. That's just tuition.
If you ever decide to go back to college, Ben, when you're done with this, to do something else, move to New Mexico. Because I just found out the governor just signed a bill stating that if we live here, our college is free.
Oh no, I'm done. I'm done with school after
Yeah,
this.
Texas
done.
I
has
mean,
the
literally, that just
I'm
happened.
done.
You guys have no idea how excited I am about that.
Texas has the Hazelwood Act. Not only if you're a Texas resident and you were active duty for at least 4 years, if I wanted to go back to school right now, anything, it's all free except for books. And my children, they have no student debt. And one just got her degree in horticulture, no student debt. It's all paid for.
Is there
Nice.
is there a good argument at all to charge for education? Is there like
No.
No, it's an
Should I-
investment.
I feel like if somebody comes up to me on the street and it's just like, "Hey man, just off the cuff thoughts. Why should you have to pay me $5 to learn this information?" I would be like, "Oh, I don't have a good reason. That's kind of dumb. Shouldn't we just make knowledge and education like a focus of society?"
It's an investment in our country's future.
Right.
It should be completely.
Right.
I lived in Germany for 3 years. They even give it free to non-German citizens. If you live there, it's free, no matter who you are.
That's the point, though, because in this, neoliberal like democracy that we have, it very much is a feature, not a bug, that you have an undereducated populace. I mean, capitalism squeezes from the people on the bottom, and the people at the bottom outnumber those at the top, and they vote. We do still have some semblance of a representative democracy, and the more educated a person is, the more likely they are to vote out these really toxic politicians that want to keep giving the corporations carte blanche to grind us all for the oils of the industrial machine.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. That's kind of the only thing I could come up with. And again, it's not a good argument, but
No, it's just the reasoning.
if I have a whole group of people that I'm trying to control, oh man, if
I
they're
would rather
dumber-
them be dumb. And I would rather them believe in fairies or mystical creatures.
And not
you
have a
know?
shit ton of money.
You don't have a lot of money. You're working really hard, barely scraping by, so you don't have time to sit around and have divergent thoughts. So having them work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, not be educated, and have a focus on individuality rather than collectivism, and a focus on spirituality as well. Even though we have a separation of church and state, you see God woven throughout the fabric of our country. And again, it is signaling, it is just, religion is the opiate of the masses. Like, it all ties in together to make a more controllable populace that can be exploited. Because in late stage capitalism, it is literally the blood, sweat, tears, and labor of those at the bottom that allow for the excess of those at the top. We are literally ground down to make oil to grease the machine of capitalism.
Jesus,
That's
man.
that's a
Gosh damn, that hurts.
And
to
there's
hear,
there's
but-
math to back that up. If you look at 2.3% inflation, the effective buying power of the dollar decreases at that percentage, decreases by 50% every 16 years. That's the math.
We
But
have
do our
had
wages
inflation.
double every 16 years?
No,
No.
wages have stagnated. They haven't gone up really since the 70s.
That's right.
Now, if wages had kept up with an inflation, we'd be at, I believe, around $18 or $19 an hour right now.
Depends on when you started.
Or 20, sorry, 20. And if it kept up with productivity, we'd be a little bit closer to $30 an hour, because right now productivity is, record high, but wages are still very, very, very low.
If you start that chart about 1920, where $2 an hour was a decent wage and a loaf of bread cost a nickel, that's 1/140th of 1 hour's pay for a loaf of bread. Loaf of bread today, $3. 40 times that, $120 per hour.
I was going back to around the 70s.
Right, I know, but that's why I said the difference is how far back do you want to go?
Yeah. And I mean, it's more insidious than that too, because not only that, but now we have corporate prisons, where they get government checks to keep people locked up. So that incentivizes locking people up for things like nonviolent drug offenses. And those are the criminals that they want, because they're the least likely to make trouble. They're not a hardened criminal. They're not a murderer. They just had a fucking dime bag of weed on them at the wrong time in the wrong state. And it's even worse than that too, because guess what? These corporations are now going around, and it's already hard enough for people of my generation, millennials, to have a house. Like, you have to hope that your parents own a house, didn't have to get a reverse mortgage, and die in order to have a hope of home ownership. Because honestly, otherwise it's like getting struck by lightning or winning the lottery almost. And these corporations are going right now, and they are buying up all of the small, like, single family starter homes, like the ones that they're not a great house, but it's what you do for your start. Then you maybe put some work into it, increases in equity over time. You sell it and you get something bigger. You kind of move up. Like, that was the idea, at least in the past. Yeah. But they're buying them up, and they're not reselling them. They're only renting them, because they want a permanent underclass of renters. Because there are two things that people will fight tooth and nail for, and that is, a roof over their heads, and, food in their bellies, and medicine that they need to stay alive. Like, both of those things you need to live, and so they can just keep exploiting the workers. And we have like constant attacks on union membership, and unions aren't perfect, but they're better than the alternative. Sorry, I'm going on my socialist rant. I'm on my little socialist soapbox over here.
You got me excited to bitch for a second about privatized prisons, because there's a fascinating little statistic, and it is technically true, but I'll break it down in a second. But like, technically, in the for-profit prisons in the United States, out of all the prisoners that ever walk through the doors and are actually incarcerated, over 90-something% of them will actually be released before they die. That is technically true. One of the reasons for that is because there are a lot of things called like compassionate release, where basically you just kick an 80-year-old man or woman out on the fucking corner with
Which is
the
not
shit
very
that they came.
compassionate.
Oh no, it's disgusting. It's absolutely terrible. But what I really wanted to talk about was the fact that while you stay in those prisons, there's a fascinating little system of items that you need as somebody that may be a human being, somebody that may have very basic medical things, whatever those things are. If you happen to be in women's prisons, there are even worse restrictions on the very basic necessities that you are allowed. And when you try to access them, you have to pay for them. Of course, you can go get a job at the private prison because, again, just a real statistic, somewhere in the, I think it's high 70s, it might be low 80s, but I think it's like 77, the last one that I saw, and it was a couple years old. But like, of those private prisons, like 70 some odd percent of them are actually almost entirely run and managed and maintained by the inmates. That means that they're the ones scrubbing toilets, they're the ones cooking food, they're the one putting boxes in corners and shelving areas and building things and replacing light bulbs and so forth. And during that time, they are actually legally, constitutionally allowed to be paid nothing. But they have to somehow find a way to buy soap and toilet paper. I don't
And
know if there's
tampons
a
and
word for
pads.
this. I don't. Yeah. Again, yeah. Anything related to feminine hygiene is just absurdity.
No, there is a word for it.
Indentured servitude.
Oh
No,
gosh,
it's slavery.
yeah. Oh god,
It is slavery.
Slavery?
Slavery
I
is
knew it.
still allowed
I knew it
under the
ex- yeah.
Constitution
I
if
knew
you
there
are
was-
incarcerated.
knew there was a word for it. Yeah. Weird. It's weird how our Constitution kind of just gives carte blanche to that. It does. And then we did this whole amendment thing. It was a big deal. And for some reason, in the middle of it, we were just like, oh, not if you're a bad person, though. That's cool. Like, we could still do all these fucked up things if they're a bad person, right?
Well,
That seems
because
right.
they had to have a carve out so they could continue their punitive justice system. We've never been like, that's why recidivism rates are so high in the United States. Not only do you have the school to prison pipeline, but you very much have the prison to prison pipeline. Yes, people will be released before they die,
Only
but then
come
they'll end
back.
up right back in prison because they were given no tools to function in society. Not to mention the prejudice that they face being an ex-con. A lot of places they won't rent to you. You can't get a job there. And so you are literally forcing these people into a life of crime. And guess what the number one predictor of crime is? Poverty. If you grow up in poverty, you're more likely to end up down the path of being a criminal. And yet, and part of that goes to the schooling system. It doesn't have the resources. I mean, for some stupid reason, our schools, well, it's not stupid, it's racist, but our schools are funded by tax money. So in the nice neighborhoods, where all the people that look like me are, they tend to have better funded schools. But then people of color, people in, more like densely populated cities, like where, they don't have the funding and where you have, lower property values, then you end up with lower lower money going to the schools. That's why redlining was such a disastrous thing to the BIPOC communities, because it literally shoehorned them into this, fucking track that they really can't get out of unless something drastic is done. Because you start out in poverty, you don't get a proper education because the funding and resources aren't there. You're more likely to be targeted even if you've done nothing wrong, or locked up, unjustly. And once you do end up locked up, then you're fucked because now you have a criminal record. A lot of places won't hire you. A lot of places won't rent to you. So in some sense, you might have a better life being a criminal, even if you end up in jail, because at least you get 3 squares and a roof over your head, as inhumane and gross as that sounds. But we focus on punitive damage. It's like me personally, I don't have an ethical issue, like an ethical opposition to the death penalty, if you know you have the right person and only in the most heinous of crimes. But the fact is there's at least, I think the last check, it was, I think 4 or 6% of people on death row were proven innocent. And that's just the ones that were proven innocent. So at that point, that's state-sponsored murder. And I'm not okay with that. You know, it's like the John Wayne Gacy's and the Ted Bundys of the world. I'm not going to lose any sleep at night if, you know, they get deleted. But again, like, it is used to very much target people, you know, like the whole justice system targets people with disabilities and poor people and people of color more than your, you know,
Texas,
fucking middle-class white people.
Texas and Kentucky put down people that have legit mental disabilities. I mean, really, really
Tennessee
bad.
does too. Yeah, I don't want to let my state off the hook.
Is
Yeah, we're-
Native Atheist still in the live chat? Lives in Oklahoma, which has the worst track record because they try to skirt around the lethality of the drugs they use in the cocktail to kill them, and they often don't work, and it's a botched job. And
Oh yeah, it's so terrible.
And
I
I don't
have so many thoughts on
I
that.
don't remember which state. It may have been Oklahoma, and it was a couple years ago. But the vast majority of the manufacturers of these specific drugs were in Western European countries. A lot of them in that time period, again, about 4 or 5 years ago, actively said, we are literally not selling this to any motherfucker that is not a, like, I've been doing this as a medical doctor for a really long time. Let me show you the patients and how this is going to work in these situations. Because outside of that, the only other use that they have is doing this, is killing people. That's what they're used for. But this one particular state, and again, I don't think it was Oklahoma, but it was Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama. It was one of, again, Tennessee. I'm not letting my state off the hook, but they literally, they had a supply of midazolam, and they knew it was going to expire in like a month and a half.
Oh,
and they
no.
ramped up the executions.
no.
I'm not even fucking you. Like, that is
Oh, God.
bullshit disgusting, in my
I
opinion.
remember that.
That they walked to a fucking shelf and said, oh man, this is what we used to kill people with, and it's about to go bad in a month. Don't we already have people here that we can just go ahead and use this on, because we don't want to fucking waste the money that was spent on it? That's horrible. They
It's
put like
disgusting.
half a dozen people to death in
You're
yeah, I'm in Tennessee. Yeah.
Oh, one thing real quick. I don't want to derail, but I've been to 43 countries. Everyone says, what's the most beautiful place on earth you've ever been to? And I say, number 3 is the Panama rainforest. Number 2 is the Austrian Alps. Number 3 is Chattanooga, Tennessee. And they're like, what?
I tell you what.
Fucking go to Chattanooga.
Hey, Chattanooga is lovely.
When the sun is coming up over Lookout Mountain and that fog down in the valley, it will bring you to tears.
Let me tell you about good old Rocky Top.
Gatlinburg.
Yep.
See, I need to go see for myself, because I freely admit my bias, because I'm from Colorado, but I'm open to changing my mind.
I lived in Denver for 2 years. Chattanooga's still more beautiful.
We got some.
Well, Denver's not that great, but
just so y'all know,
I was in Golden, up in the foothills, but you know what thing about living in the big mountains area? You build up a tolerance to the mountains. You forget they're there. You don't appreciate them. After about a year, you're just like, oh, it's blocking my view of the sunset. You forget how you take it for granted.
I'll tell you though,
for sure.
Again, I do love my state, Been here for a while. I do very much like this place for a lot of different reasons. One of them for sure is the beautiful landscape and so forth. But there are some really shitty ideas.
I think it was North Carolina. I think, but I could be wrong on that one, that they're bringing back the firing squad, which
Oh,
I have
I wouldn't
feelings on
doubt
that.
it.
I have feelings on that.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to be killing people anyway, it's a more humane way to do it than some fucking random cocktail of drugs.
So
But how about we just don't?
that was kind of kind of the John Oliver did a thing on the death penalty a while ago, and one of the things that he kind of harped on was the idea that at the end of the day, the way that we are putting people to death in the United States these days is actually not in any way, shape, or form less painful or better, quote unquote, for the person being executed. It is better for us that watch it. It makes us feel better about putting somebody to death because basically one of the first things we do is paralyze their fucking body so that we don't see them breaking down from the inside out.
Yeah.
And that is there's part of me that, so I know there was a case in Tennessee. This was many years ago, but there was a case in Tennessee that where we had just changed over or started to change over like the electric chair or something. And this was the last person to be electrocuted to death in Tennessee. And he actually chose the electric chair because he had a couple of other choices. And he specifically said, I want this one. And when they asked him, he said, because it's terrible. It's horrible. And I want everyone to see that. If that's the last thing I can do, that's the last thing I can do. This is disgusting.
Fuck, man.
And I mean,
that's some brass balls there.
You gotta, yeah, but it is, it's bad. And I don't know. I don't know if the right thing to, so in Iran, they hang you in public. And the way that they do that is by tying a noose around your neck as you're standing firmly planted on the ground. And then they lift you. And that's, does that make you hate it more? I don't know. Does that make everybody so viscerally disgusted that they're just like, why are we doing this barbaric thing where we're just killing people? Or is it just horrible and no upside whatsoever?
I mean, we have a formula. Like, we have a formula of, weight, to height ratio where we know how much, how far we have to drop them to immediately snap their neck.
True.
And just quick and relatively painless, I would say.
But then why wouldn't we go guillotine? Because by everything we seemingly, again, I'm of course no medical student. Ben is here and he will correct me when I say anything out of line. But that sharp of a blade, that much force, the speed at which it would be falling at that point from that height, it will snap through that spinal cord so fast. Like,
oh, absolutely. Like a guillotine or using the proper formula for hanging would be the most humane way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, but
I don't know.
Again, like hanging would be a little bit nicer for the audience, so to speak, because it's not as gruesome as seeing someone's head detached from the rest of them. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we don't really use the guillotine anymore. But like, again, like it looks like the person is dying peacefully when you give them lethal injection only because they are physiologically not able to scream in agony as their veins are burning inside of them.
Right.
That is a horrible way to go. And with the new cocktails that they're coming up with, because they can't get the original ones, which were still bad, but not as bad as some of the new things they're trying, it very much is an inhumane way to go. Of the options on the table right now, the fucking crazy cocktails or, the electric chair or firing squad, I think the firing squad is the most humane of those options. Hanging, if using the proper formula, or guillotine, I think would be more humane than even the firing squad. But again, there's not the public's not quite as bloodthirsty, at least in this. they don't want to see the death. Like they don't want that visceral, like we have distanced ourselves, as a culture from death so much that when you even start having conversations with your family about what you want for your end of life care and how you want your body to be treated after you die, it makes them squirmy and queasy and uneasy because they want to distance themselves from their own mortality. And I understand that, but it's still a conversation that you should have. You should have a living will. You should have somebody who knows what you want to be done for you.
Right.
Because otherwise, your family could be saddled with expenses because they want to do right by you. And if they don't know, hey, yeah, just cremate me and toss me in a Folgers can and I'm good. If they know that that's what it is, then they're not going to go out and spend thousands on a casket and bury you in the ground somewhere. Funeral expenses are fucking ridiculously expensive.
What you need to do is
burial.
do an advance directive, a DNR to say whether or not, and then you go and you go get a will done, and you start at your doctor's office. And then go get a will drawn up, so that way there's no dispute. I'm going to put in my will that everybody has to either get high or something, except for Richard. We'll give him a pass. Because that shit makes him sick anyways. And everybody's gonna have a fucking party, and I'm gonna get somebody to like Ben to put together old clips of me being stupid, and that's what's gonna happen when I fucking die. So just be prepared for that. It's gonna be a party.
So this
I'll
question
show you a costume
from Cerberus Hex.
I just want a real nice suit.
I think it's interesting, but I think there's a problem with it. Honestly, the idea. Is it ethical to force victims to pay for the murderers of their family or friends for the rest of the murderer's life? Are you asking me, is it right for a government or a human being to walk up to somebody that has had their family member or friend murdered by somebody and then say, you must now support this individual and their
I believe they're
lifestyle
talking
out
about
of your pocket?
taxes.
I know that they're talking about taxes, but I had to make that clear because the way you worded it, my friend, is problematic. But when it comes to the taxes aspect, like that's a lot more that's a lot more difficult, because the idea of where do your actual taxes go? How much did you pay in taxes? And where do you think that money went in the United States government that is 25% devoted to the military industrial complex? Where do you think that money went, bro?
Contributing to a genocide in Yemen right now?
So every single one of us.
For another
did you
$24
pay
billion
sales tax yesterday?
F-14.
And so, right. So how do you do that? How do you effectively do that? You go.
State taxes going to fund Don't Say Gay and other shit
How do you
here
do
in
that?
Florida.
I have to pay for the potholes on my way to work, but I also apparently have to pay for all these religious signage and bullshit because they're owned by the fucking state in my area. So how do I parse that out? That's a really difficult thing. And I'm not saying that means that we just don't do anything, but I'm saying like it's not as clear cut as
Also,
that.
it costs more money to put someone to death than it does to house
I've
them.
been waiting.
So
I've been waiting. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, it is.
So Ox and Halcyonic were having this debate about this. Just so you know, I don't know what the fuck you go by. I'm gonna call you Halcy because I'm not saying all that. That's a tongue twister, and I'm high.
Kaiju?
So Halcy, at the beginning of this conversation, Kitty had specified if the people are definitely guilty. That's what we were basing it off of. We're not basing it off of we know there's a bunch of people on death row that shouldn't be there. We know there's a lot of people in jails that shouldn't be there. Like we know that, but we were saying definitely the person's guilty. We were basing it off of that. Just so.
I think the death penalty is called for far too often. Like it's the reason Casey Anthony walked. It's because they made it a death penalty case, and they didn't meet their burden of proof. They could have got her on lesser charges, but they swung for the fucking moon and just plummeted into the sun. But no, like I think we go for the death penalty far too often, and we should not be as retributive in our justice system. It should be more about rehabilitation. But I do think that, for the most heinous of crimes, again, your John Wayne Gacy's, your Ted Bundy's kind of thing, I have no problem with putting those people to death. Hell, even Dylan Roof, we know he did it. He was literally caught at the church where he killed all those people. I'm not going to lose sleep if they put him to death. But when, you don't know for sure that it's the right person. There's a lot of areas where like the justice system has failed people and innocent people have been put to death. And we definitely need to reevaluate our system. And I like I said, I'm not saying we have to keep the death penalty. I just said I personally am not opposed if it is used in only the most heinous of cases when we know we have the right person. I don't mind. But overall, because we have killed innocent people and there are innocent people on death row, we should get rid of the death penalty and instead do life imprisonment, because we should not be killing innocent Americans. Full stop. And to the taxes point, yes, it really does cost more money to put a person to death than it does to to house them in a jail cell for the rest of their life.
It's not an exaggeration. It's not a number pulled out of the ass. Literally, our federal government makes these reports every quarter. And yes, it is. It does
So
cost.
if you're worried about
but-
like the tax angle,
but-
more of your tax dollars go to killing them than
So
keeping them in prison.
I would say almost all of that, 100% agree. But I actually don't think it's ever okay for state sanctioned killing. I don't think there is a justification for our government to ever put somebody to death, even if we know for a fact, like let's say our medicine and technology gets so beautiful and incredible that we could put a helmet on them and we can scan their brain perfectly and we know every fucking detail and every single thing about them, and we determine from that, based on objective criteria that we've studied and refined, and we know for a fact that they will never, ever change from being somebody that fully believes the right thing to do is go out and murder as many people as possible. Obviously, that person cannot be allowed to just walk through Walmart on a Tuesday. But I still believe, even if we had all that ability and we knew the end result and somebody said, well, hey man, he's going to live for another 70 years or whatever, I still would say, I don't think it's okay for us to put him to death. And I think one of the reasons that I would say for that is there is a repercussion amongst other people in that same society. If we live in a society that says it's okay for us to put people to death at a certain point, whatever that criteria is, I think that is a society that has less well-being than one that says we never put people to death for crimes or something.
Yeah.
And again,
And
I know
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah, and I know that's not everybody's stance out there, but because I do feel like if we open the door to that, it does have more potential to be abused. But I would say and I don't want to bring it back up because I know Ben sent me a message and was like, oh, you missed all the vegan vegetarian stuff. But
We are
Jim,
not going back to the vegan
I just want to
conversation.
point it out. Hang on. Behind the scenes look for all the super cool viewers out there. Jim did make a comment earlier and that had to do with like putting humans to death. And he's like, you're kind of making the argument for me. But there's this part of that I absolutely latch onto. And I'm like, the idea of arbitrarily putting life to death, especially human life.
I've got a point though, don't I?
we can't go back. I'm sorry. My fault.
Well, here's
I
the
wasn't
thing.
gonna
Like,
say anything.
I do get secular how, it would have a chilling effect on the populace because, I mean, whether or not you think about it, there is a collective trauma essentially that would exist in the general populace that, the state does sanction such violence. And there's also the argument to be made of slippery slope. It's, the point is here, but could they ever shift that point elsewhere? I totally agree. Like I said, I am fine with abolishing the death penalty. And as it stands now, I would like to see it abolished. I just said for me personally, I wouldn't lose any sleep over people like the worst of the worst that we know they did it. I don't feel bad if they get deleted from society.
Yeah.
But again, like it's more than just my personal feelings on the matter. And I do see it as an objective negative to society, to our society, to have the death penalty as it is.
Hold on, I'm gonna be real quick, Jim. So, what do you think of this, SR? What do you think about the fact that some of the people that are the worst criminals are absolutely nuts? And they are literally beyond help, and that's why they're to that point. So if you have that, let's say, hold on, we're just gonna say the guy that definitely did it, right? I mean, that's pretty stereotypical right there. So we're going with the guy that you know, you already know that did it, and he's absolutely fucking nuts. So which is worse? Do you leave him in a jail cell by himself in isolation where he just gets more and more nuts and hurts himself, and or do you put him out of his own fucking misery?
But
At
you don't
some
have
point,
to have
some of them,
Yeah,
Neither.
you don't.
some of
Right.
them,
You don't have to have either. You can
Yeah,
have something in the
there's a middle
middle.
ground.
No, not with.
And
I'm serious, man.
People can be put in
I've heard
prison
some
without being put
crazy
in
shit.
isolation.
Some of
Isolation
those
is what
people
drives people
are
crazy.
not. You're not.
I don't
fixing them.
disagree that there are people, and again,
Mm.
even knowing fully from the beginning, if we had this magical technology or something, and then
Don't need magic.
I'll shut up because Jim. But if we had this thing where we could put it over somebody's head and we just knew for a fucking fact, like, this person will never change. They will constantly have the obsessive, terrible thoughts that every single one of us here disagrees with, of going out and just harming people left and right and left and right. If we already have them sequestered from the rest of the public, what is the benefit to each individual and the collective that outweighs keeping them alive and still attempting to treat them better?
But that's the problem. That doesn't happen in jails. They don't
Well,
give them rehabilitation.
No, our
It's
jails
bullshit.
are fucked. We need to
They
change the
don't
system.
have
I'm
any.
not
That's
disagreeing.
what we're
Psychiatrists,
saying.
Psychologists, and the
See,
ones
Beck,
that
that's what
do
we're
are
saying.
usually
I think we
state.
should absolutely change.
No, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
That you're the two options you gave are not the only two options.
No, I'm
we
just
need
saying
more
that's what.
options.
No. I'm saying that's all we have right now.
Well, no,
Literally,
So
that's-
why don't we
Isolation-
work to change the options instead of
I
just
got a
settling
suggestion.
on those two options?
Get
How
rid
about
of
we
all those
change the
good old
options?
boys. Get rid of all the good old boys and take the power away from all the big companies that have the money, because they're the ones making all these fucking decisions and running the goddamn fucking country. Has nothing to do with the president or anybody else. Jim, I am so sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Richard had something. He has a suggestion.
You waited
we
that
know
long?
so much more about brain
No,
science
I have more to
today
say,
than-
but I want to hear Richard.
we know so much more about the human brain today than we did, say, 50, 70 years ago. How about bringing back a more refined lobotomy?
All right, now I have something.
You know, I like
go
that
for it,
idea
Jim. I got thoughts
about
We
about
get lots of
11 years
evidence.
ago, about 10 or 11
And-
years ago in Germany, they started zapping the nerve that was causing people to have seizures. And so why couldn't they do something like that?
Because their brains are really, really fucking complicated.
I have to
Well,
have
And
yeah.
another
the
beer if
risk
I'm
of doing harm, the risk of doing more harm by messing with stuff like that when there isn't sufficient evidence to do something like that is dangerous as fuck. And
It would be cruel
Ex-
and unusual.
it'd be cruel
Yeah,
and
but if we're-
unethical to experiment
to
like
that
that to
point,
figure
then
out
we're-
if that's ethical or not.
Right, but if we're to that point of like mapping the brain and everything, then it shouldn't be dangerous. We should know what the fuck we're
We're
talking
not
about.
there yet.
Because it's not that, and it's
didn't
not that
say we
simple.
were.
It's not that simple either. Because brain mapping, like think about every single layer of the brain has significant function. Like we're learning
Yeah.
so much nuance about this. There is so much risk, even if you could target one specific layer of brain tissue and not touch anything else. Your risk of accidentally touching something else is really, really damn high. There's so much safety issues like that go into something like this that, like, I don't know if we'd like it'd be a long way down the road to even think about getting to a place like that.
My thought about it, Ben, was always this: since everybody's so different and nothing is exactly like the textbook, like, you know, there's little nuances of people's nerves being different, whatever, because none of us are exactly the same. It's just that's impossible. But with that, wouldn't it make it even harder?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's mapping is different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck. I know.
Okay, Master
That's the
Sergeant.
part-
You gotta let the
that's-
Master Sergeant go sometime.
That's a
His
part of-
arm's getting.
Oh, Oh, I'm sorry.
I
didn't
don't
see. I'm
have
sorry.
I don't have an ink stick
Bad-
with me,
bad
so I can't
glasses,
write
bro.
down everything. So I'm going to try to remember the 3 things I have. I'm just going to shotgun you. First one is Ox in the live chat. Absolutely wrong. Death penalty is not a deterrence for crime. That's coming from someone with a degree
I
in
was gonna
criminal
say that.
justice. Sorry, it's not. I can give you many of examples. Second is Kitty said something about slippery slope, and it reminded me of how just privileged our mindset is, especially as Americans. I don't know where I was going with that, and damn it! See, I should write this shit down. And then the third
Sorry
thing
to
was
interrupt.
there's a book called Nine Meals. If you write that down, it's a book called Nine Meals. And this kind of goes with the slippery slope thing also. We have this, and I'm not going to go on the vegetarian thing, but you guys are totally making my point for me. Unless you consider non-human animals as less deserving of life. I'm not going to go down that road, Ben. Sorry. The book Nine Meals. Oh, we're so high and mighty, and we don't want to put someone to. Oh, the other thing was when I told you I was in Iraq. That's that final tour I was there. My unit killed, KC'd, killed or captured 168 terrorist suspects. Well, at least 17 of those kills were collateral. They were not targets, and that haunts me. But we have that was in line with what someone was saying. Can you be totally sure the brain mapping? You can never be totally sure. This was just bad intel, and I don't see it. Maybe there's a point in technology where we can be 100%. I don't know. As of right now, you can't be 100% certain. You don't know if you're killing the right people. This was a wedding that we sent a drone in, and we thought it was a shake meeting, and it wasn't. It was a wedding, and we killed 17 civilians.
Jesus, man.
If I could, if I could just
Mac,
so
you're
the
really
book
loud.
Nine Meals, it's
Yeah.
we think don't me vegetarian. I don't want any life. I don't want any life taken unnecessarily. In
plant
fact,
life.
very very high bar for taking a life. Right, Kitty and I. Some of us talked about culling some deer population, and that I had an ethical problem with. But this book Nine Meals is, oh, you don't want to kill anything, but give it 9 meals, which is how many days? It's 3 days, right? If the entire population of the United States were to miss 9 meals,
Sure.
we would be shooting our next
Cannibalism
door
be on
neighbor
the
in the face
table.
for a can of beans. Oh,
Yeah.
it would be freaking The Walking Dead action. So we're in a privileged position right now. Oh, that's
is
all
true.
I had to say.
I just want this real quick tangent just because it is something that I looked into and it really still bums me out today. It makes me pretty annoyed. Yes, you're right. Can't know 100% for sure, but technically in the last couple of years the United States government did organize, operate, sanction, pay for, and ultimately execute a drone strike that killed an individual that they thought the intelligence showed. They paid for the intelligence and did all the work, and they thought this individual was a Taliban supporter in Afghanistan, despite the fact that he was a well-known humanitarian aid worker, an individual who had worked his whole fucking life, saved up every fucking penny, and was literally at the time delivering water. Him and a few of his children.
Like half dozen children. It was
yeah.
7 people were killed, 6 children.
Our government ran a report, and that report concluded that there were no mistakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, especially when that shit's on the table, it's really hard. It's really, really hard, in my opinion, to come up with a good argument for. We can do the whole like, okay, perfect scenario down the line. How do we whatever? But like, yeah, when that stuff's on the table, it is hard to be like, oh yeah, it's cool, right? Because fuck.
You want my hot take?
Yeah.
Every U.S. president since World War II has been a war criminal, except Jimmy Carter. I went there.
We're not part of the ICC technically.
But no, like every single recent U.S. president has committed war crimes. Full stop. Like there is no denying it. I don't blame the soldiers. They're following orders. You'll be court-martialed or, your life ruined, like, if you don't follow orders. And a lot of people serve their country because it's a great advancement opportunity. I mean, in some cases, it's your only advancement opportunity to get a better life. And so I hold nothing against the soldiers. My issue is with the government and the fact that we support like 70% of the world's dictators. We support Saudi Arabia when, we went to war in Iraq and Afghanistan over 9/11 when 17 of the 19 hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. They were Saudi backed, but we're still buddy-buddy with them because of oil and because of business ties. We are helping Saudi Arabia commit a genocide in Yemen. Children are starving and dying of dysentery, treatable illnesses, cholera and dysentery, because we are allowing the funding and execution of a blockade, keeping them from getting food and medicine, and thousands of Yemenis children are dying. And our tax dollars are paying for that.
Yep. I know that stuff really frustrates me in a lot of different ways.
I'd rather pay to keep a murderer in prison forever than that.
Right. And that's where it's tough. It's a tough Beck, you wanna say something?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'm just exhausted. I'm done, and Ben's just gonna take over.
I got it.
So
I gotta
thank
take a
you,
shower
buddy.
and head to bed
appreciate
in
you.
a
I have
second,
power.
so-
I mean, we have been going for a while.
Yeah, I mean
So-
we can
We can
I
keep
love
hanging
all
out.
you guys. I'll
Yeah,
see
or we
y'all.
could rap and hang out in the back room. That's fine too. So we can keep
Yeah,
having
either
our
way, I'm done.
conversations.
I'm going.
There's
Good night,
people
everybody.
that are falling asleep to us talking though, where they're
Yeah.
sedative.
That's the
So-
I
best.
might, since Beck's gone anyway, I might end the live stream and then we can just hang out because that can go as long as anyone wants to.
I can spare 5 more
So-
minutes.
Sure.
Then I can curse, spew profanity, and get naked.
Yeah. Reverse
Wow.
order, but go for it. Yeah. We'll just all, you know what? We'll go ahead and we'll do the backstage thing, and everybody out there that's watching, you gotta like the videos and comment and share it with people, and maybe you'll get a taste of what's about to happen. But it's gonna be spicy.
I'm not even
You're
wearing a bra
not
right
teasing
now,
anybody.
so, I mean,
Oh, Jesus.
As Stool would say, pervert.
Richard's just shaking his head. Oh, God.
Sorry, Richard.
These godless heathens.
All right. Well,
I was like this even when I wasn't a godless heathen. So
so I'm gonna end this thing for Beck.
Be
And
good to each other. What does Beck say? Peace.
something, have some peace in your life. That's all.
Yeah.
He always does it. So
peace out. Emphasis on the
I'll
peace.
just say peace out, heathens.
Nice.